ESPN's Adam Schefter reports the Vikings plan to cut running back Dalvin Cook if they can't work out a trade today. Cook has spent 6 years in Minnesota. Thanks to Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray becoming the first teammates to each have a 30-point triple-double in the same game, Denver now leads the NBA Finals 2-1. But our Kendrick Perkins says he's impressed in a more basic way by Jokic.
You know the crazy thing about it is that he never gets tired. We don't give enough credit on how he's in great shape. He never gets tired. That's amazing, man.
Kendrick Perkins on Fitz and Harry. Game 4 tomorrow night on ESPN Radio and ABC TV. Dodgers right-hander Noah Syndergaard will be out at least a few weeks with a blister on his right hand and to get an emotional and mental reset. Syndergaard is 1-4 this season. At the French Open today, unseeded Karolina Muchova beats the 2-seed Arina Sabalenka in the semifinals. She'll play the top seed Iga Swiatek.
Is your summer staffing situation significantly scarce? Then you need Indeed. Their powerful all-in-one hiring platform makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire candidates all in one place. Want to find your next great hire? Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Muso. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Ton to do. Cade, Beloso, bottom of this hour. Kendall Rogers here in hour 3 as we creep closer to Super Regional baseball out at Alec Box Stadium this weekend. But let us start right here.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
So I always find it interesting whenever we get at certain points of the college football offseason and Las Vegas uses those as benchmarks to update their projected win totals. This typically happens at the end of a previous regular season, at the end of a signing period, and then now you've got the first transfer portal window and the spring portal window. So typically what we would see for years is post-spring practice, you would see updated point spreads and Vegas odds for the upcoming season. And then what's happened, obviously, with the transfer portal is that's changed the college football calendar a little bit. And so it's pushed things a little further into June, which is typically when you start to see students arrive for summer school and start going through off-season workouts, and you have a better sense of what a roster is going to look like. For example, how tricky would it have been to put a win total on Colorado football 6 weeks ago? They lost 47 players since the end of last season. Even post-spring, they lost 20-some-odd players. So Colorado would have been very challenging. Now, that is a bit of an outlier. Incidentally, Circa Sportsbooks has Colorado at 3.5 wins this year. 3.5 for Coach Prime. By the way, I'm taking the over. And Muse, what about you? Prime, are you a believer over 3.5 for Coach Prime?
In year one, I'm gonna say no.
Okay.
I'm gonna say no.
We'll go through it, but I think he's gonna get over it. We'll do that in a bit. But that's not the point of this. The point of this is more so to look at LSU and the SEC. So Circa Sportsbook has updated their projected win total. So I figured let's go through it. Can you just give me a little bed music, whatever you got there? I don't care what it is. Just hit a little something so we have a little ditty there in the background while we run through all of this. And we will start with the Alabama Crimson Tide. I guess we could just sort of go alphabetically here. Vegas projects, and this is Circa Sportsbook, again, updating their win total, as they've got Alabama at 10. What's interesting about that is we've talked a lot this offseason about Alabama as a team that, for me, has to prove it. And typically you've seen Alabama what with Georgia as far as would they be at 10.5 or 11 or higher with their win total, just would they win or lose a game. To see Bama down at 10 is a bit surprising and somewhat validating. We'll get to that. Expect a little bit of a bounce back for the Hogs. They got them at 6.5. 7 for Auburn, year one under Hugh Freeze. The Florida Gators. This is the one where you could go, eesh. Are they going to be looking for a new coach? How about 5 and a hook? And you know what? They may not go over that 5 and a hook. We'll run through their schedule in a bit. Georgia, the two-time defending national champ, not a great surprise. 11.5. Basically, will Georgia lose a game? When you look at their schedule, that makes a lot of sense as well. Just going alphabetically. Kentucky, they have at 7. I was listening to the Chuck Oliver show yesterday. For those who don't know, Chuck does a great job. Based out of Atlanta, does a 365 college football show. It follows us here in Baton Rouge on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. And he had a national college football writer on who projected Kentucky at 10 wins this year. Does that sound wild? I mean, Circa has them at 7. 3 wins over your projected total? 10?
That's especially losing your quarterback. I mean, you lost with Levis. Like, that's a little.
But they bring in Devin Leary.
They do bring in
from
Devin
NC
Leary.
State.
That's fair.
But
that is fair.
I think it's more so. Will Levis was just beaten to oblivion last year.
Yeah.
Their offensive line was atrocious. Can they fix their line? Cavassier Smoke is transferred out. Lose Chris Rodriguez to the draft. That was a bold projection that I heard yesterday on the Chuck Oliver show. Your LSU Fighting Tigers, Circa has them at 9.5. So holding steady, a half game off of where they have Alabama. If you're watching, it's LSU's on the third column at the top right there at 9.5 wins. Mississippi State at 6 wins, year one under Zach Arnett. Again, we'll run through these and give you some individual thoughts on each of them. How about Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss at 7? Remember last year we talked so much about how the first 8 games of that schedule were a breeze before they got to LSU, and then it looked airy after that, and it was basically a grind to the finish, and it certainly proved to be for Lane Kiffin and the rest of the squad there. South Carolina, which had maybe the most surprising year in the conference a year ago, year 2 under Shane Beamer. They got South Carolina projected at 6. Tennessee is going to be one of the most interesting teams to watch, I think, in all of college football, because if Joe Milton can replicate Hendon Hooker's season, not easy to do, but if he can, then you have a team that's a contender in the East. Because the East is winnable. And we'll go through, and I get they have to play Alabama, and we'll go through some of what the cross-divisionals will look like, but Tennessee at 9, I think, is maybe the most interesting team in the entire league. And then the one that everyone sort of loves to hate and laugh at, Texas A&M, 8.5. So while the blue chip ratio favors Texas A&M, didn't we say yesterday blue chip ratio 4th most talented roster by recruits? Wasn't that where they were?
Yep, 4th.
It was Bama, Georgia, Clemson.
I thought Ohio State was in there, too.
That's it. It was Ohio State, A&M, Clemson.
Yes.
That was your top 5. A&M, 8.5. They can't get over 8 wins to 9 this year. What a giant problem that would be. So, again, to run through it, Bama 10, Arkansas 6.5, Auburn 7, Florida 5.5, Georgia 11.5, Kentucky 7, LSU 9.5, Mississippi State 6, Ole Miss 7, South Carolina 6, Tennessee 9, Texas A&M 8.5. Muse, which stands out the most of those? Just immediately, boom, which one stands out the most?
I want the over on South Carolina because they've done it 2 years in a row, and I feel like 6 is low. I just do.
And the other thing I'll tell you with Carolina that does make sense as far as that is the SEC East is, on paper anyway, weak this year.
Yes.
I could make a strong case that South Carolina, after Georgia and probably Tennessee, is the next best team in that league.
I think that's very fair.
Here you go, South Carolina. They play North Carolina in the opener in Charlotte.
It'll be tight. It'll be a tight game.
Drake May there at North Carolina, good offense, but Carolina last year had a very disappointing season. Furman, They got a win on the schedule. They go to Athens. That's probably a loss.
Yeah.
Their cross-divisional at home is Mississippi State.
Dub.
And especially Zach Arnett. First year. I know Will Rogers is back and all this stuff.
Got to be one of their first road games, too, I would think.
We'll get to State in a second. At Tennessee, tough because it's on the road.
I'd probably say that's an L.
So it's 2 L's for them. Florida at home.
Win.
I think so.
Yeah.
Especially we don't even know who's going to play quarterback for Florida. And you get Spencer Rattler back, who finished very strong for South Carolina. They're at Missouri.
Win.
They're at A&M.
That's a toss-up, but I don't hate them in that game.
They play Jacksonville State.
Yeah, that's a win.
Play Vanderbilt at home.
That's a win.
Kentucky at home.
That's a win.
Clemson at home.
They beat them last year on the road. I mean, who's to say they can't beat them in Williams-Brice, man?
You just pegged South Carolina 10-2. You basically did for South Carolina what the guy I heard yesterday on Chuck Oliver's show did for Kentucky. For me, the most surprising thing is just to hear a projected win total for Florida at 5.5.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily that I think Florida can't get over that number. It's just, or that they're deserving of being higher. It's Florida. And to hear Florida projected, it's not to say like, for every program, the bottom could fall out in a given season. But to be projected by the odds makers to say, based against that schedule with the talent you have or don't have on your roster, we think your total is 5.5. That is stunning to see. But I'm going to tell you the other thing that is somewhat, I would say, validating. It's seeing LSU at 9.5 and Bama at 10. Brian Kelly, while I was out, Brian Kelly was on the Feinbaum show at SEC Media Days, and he let you know how he feels about his team.
We're going to have a good football team. We're going to have to play smart and, all the adages that you've heard many coaches who have sat next to you talk about. We're going to have to stay injury-free. But we've got a quarterback that is developed, and we've got probably confidence now that we can go into games and believe that we can win. Those are really good things to have when you go into a conference like the SEC.
Now, Brian Kelly's confident. I think he knows he's got a bit of a loaded gun right now with this team. And he's not the only one. Look, while I was out as well, Kirk Herbstreit did an interview with On3, and here's what Herbstreit said about the SEC West and the SEC as a whole, and where he sees LSU.
As we sit here, what are we, May 31? It's hard for me not to lean towards Alabama in the SEC just because of what you described. Now, you got LSU, who made incredible strides in that first year with Brian Kelly. Got a lot coming back from that team. They beat Bama last year. They got to go to Tuscaloosa. So those three are going to be everybody's three. As we sit here right now, I'm going to wait to see where we are in August. But I would be in that Bama LSU, just a little bit ahead of Georgia.
How about that?
Getting into the summer months.
Bama LSU ahead of Georgia. Now, the hat tip to Georgia is their schedule, which is quite honestly laughable. They will have to no-show for a game. And like that almost happened last year in Columbia against Missouri. Missouri had him dead to rights. And Missouri gagged it away. They were a red zone possession away from a 2-score lead late in that ball game that Georgia would not have had enough time to come over to overcome. But you look at Bama, they open against Middle Tennessee, then they got the game against Texas. That's at Brian Dennehy Stadium this year. They play at South Florida, why are they playing at South Florida?
It's a great question. I don't have the answer to that.
That's
should never happen. That should never happen.
Bizarro world. I mean, unless if he's just trying to go play in Florida, like down in Tampa for recruiting purposes or whatever. I mean, that is in Raymond James. It's at an NFL stadium. But to play that game at South Florida is bizarro world. Ole Miss is at home. They go their road conference games are at Mississippi State, then at A&M, which A&M beat them in College Station 2 years ago and almost beat them last year. So you have to at least respect that, and that's middle of October. They're home again. Then they go 3 straight home games: Arkansas, Tennessee, open date, LSU. That's going to be Alabama's schedule. Like that's going to tell you what their season is that stretch right there. At A&M, home against Arkansas, home against Tennessee, open date, LSU. That stretch is it for Alabama. If they come through that unscathed, they'll go undefeated and win the SEC West and go to Atlanta. There's a possibility they stub their toe a couple of times there, and if one of them's LSU's back in Atlanta. And then they're rotating cross-divisional. Bama goes to Kentucky this year, then they finish up with Chattanooga and Auburn on the road. I'll tell you, man, the questions they have at quarterback against that schedule, I'm not so sure I'm taking Bama over the number. I might pick them on the number at 10-2, but I certainly wouldn't pick them over the number of 10. And if that drop, if I could get a hook with that, I would take the under. So something worth keeping an eye on as we move through it. So updated win totals for college football here as we move through the summer months and get closer to the start of fall camp. All right, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you, of course, our show Open Every Day is brought to you by our friends at Bud Light. Drink easy in Louisiana. Bud Light, great sponsor for 13 years now, a founding sponsor and founding partner of Folds of Honor. 13 stripes, 13 folds, 13 years, celebrating 13 years of Folds of Honor. Bud Light has donated more than $21 million to Folds of Honor over 13 years, helping provide scholarship opportunities for the children of our fallen war heroes. It's a great organization. If you want to learn more, pick up one of the Budweiser or Bud Light aluminum bottles with the camouflage on it, and you'll see the Folds of Honor logo, and you'll see a Folds of Honor QR code on the back. Just scan that QR code. You can learn more how you can get involved, how you can donate to Folds of Honor. Drink easy in Louisiana with Bud Light. Okay, it's After Further Review. We're going to switch things up a little bit. We'll go around the SEC when we come back. Bottom of the hour, we'll talk to LSU senior Cade Beloso, playing his final weekend at the Box. Excited to have him with us here in about 15 minutes. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Y'all, this Friday, that would be tomorrow. Tomorrow, Hunt Palmer Show and AFR live at Rouse's on Burbank and Lee. We'll look forward to seeing you there. Come on out. We'll be doing the whole show there. Looking forward to being there at Rouse's on Burbank and Lee. If you're going to be watching baseball this weekend, whether you'll be at the Box or at home, you're going to be tailgating or grilling at the house, you can get everything you need over at Rouse's. If you need your ice-cold beer, your soft drinks for the kiddos, if you need anything for your tailgate, the chips and the dips, the meats to throw on the grill, all the things that you might need to boil those crawfish or crabs, you could do it, and Rouse's has you covered. It's Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Remember, Rouse's always has great weekly specials as well, so you can go to the website, hit the weekly ad tab right there at the top, and you can see all the great specials that they have this week at Rouse's. We will be at Rouse's tomorrow for AFR, Rouse's, Burbank, and Lee. Learn more, rouses.com.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big V and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Well, Mark Ingram's football career may very well be over. Former Saint is presently a free agent. He is unsigned, and it looks like TV may actually be his next stop. Andrew Marchand of the New York Post is reporting that Reggie Bush likely out at Fox Sports. He's in a contract dispute for Big Noon Kickoff, and it sounds like Mark Ingram is the one who is strongly considering retirement in order to join Big Noon Kickoff. So we could be going from one former Saint running back in Reggie Bush to another former Saint running back in Mark Ingram on Big Noon Kickoff. The odd thing about that is, if it does play out that way, I mean, Big Noon Kickoff is generally a Big 10, Big 12, or Pac. Well, I guess it wouldn't be a Pac-12 game, not at noon. It'd be 10 a.m. Pacific. But the Big Noon Kickoff, why would you have a former SEC running back? I mean, I guess it's not a prerequisite that you have someone that played in the league, but when you look at that show, it was Reggie Bush, Matt Leinart, a couple of Pac-12 guys. It was Urban Meyer, who, well, we know coached at Utah and Ohio State. Obviously, we know he coached at Florida as well, but won a national championship at Ohio State. And then Brady Quinn, who played at Notre Dame, which might as well be I know it's technically in the ACC now, not in football, but Brady Quinn played at Notre Dame, which is technically a Big Ten school, in the Big Ten footprint anyway. So a little odd that they would reach out of that footprint to hire Mark Ingram. Now, I will say this. One thing that I know well about Mark Ingram is I remember when he won the Heisman Trophy, and, of course, being an LSU fan, not super fond of Mark Ingram or anybody from Alabama, I remember being very moved by his Heisman speech. Of course, his dad was in prison at the time that he won the Heisman Trophy. He gave it, I thought, an exceptional speech where he not only thanked his coaches, but Mal Moore, the late athletic director from Alabama. And we know that Mark did a terrific job during his time in New Orleans, was always very engaging with the media, and I think would do very well on Big Noon Kickoff. Just a little bit of an odd choice that you'd have a guy from the SEC footprint who played his NFL ball in New Orleans as well, here in the SEC footprint, to go join Big Noon Kickoff. But anyway, if it does play out that way, that is doubly interesting. Number one, because it's just Mark Ingram, what he's going to do if he does in fact retire. But also, it's pretty clear though, if Mark Ingram is done here, that he's not going to be pursuing football any longer. His tenure with the Saints, where he played a year ago, is done, and maybe the lasting singular memory of Mark Ingram would be running out of bounds short of the first down in Tampa, which allowed the open door for the Bucs to come back and win that game, unfortunately. But we'll keep an eye on it, see what happens with Mark Ingram, if in fact he does hang it up and join Big Noon Kickoff, replacing Reggie Bush. All right, we're brought to you by South Point Volkswagen and SouthPointVW.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge, online, SouthPointVW.com. You're in the market for a vehicle, or maybe you're shopping for that graduate on your list, and it's time to get that grad. Excuse me, I sneezed. It's time to get that grad their first vehicle. You want them to drive something that is safe, that is stylish, that is affordable. It's all those things. Well, you want a Volkswagen. Go to South Point Volkswagen, Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer, the safest vehicles on the road that are also stylish with all the style, feel, performance of luxury without the cost. I drive a Volkswagen Atlas Crossport. Could not recommend it highly enough. We just went to the beach. Erica Drew and I took Erica's Atlas, had plenty of room for all of our stuff. Felt great driving on the road. Pick up yours today at South Point Volkswagen. Airline just north of Highland, or SouthPointVW.com. South Point Volkswagen, what's your direction? Okay, we do it every day, usually a little later than this, but Cade Beloso in the next segment, so we're flipping it. Let's go around the SEC. Oh, yeah, I forgot.
Around the SEC.
Wait, what did he say again?
Around the SEC. Presented by Gulf Coast Office Products. Excellence in imaging solutions.
I did not know that.
What in the wide world of sports is going on here?
The Florida Gators.
It's going to have to grow on it. I like it. I like keeping things fresh, keeping people on their toes, but it's got to grow on it. Shout out Chuck P., who did the new Around the SEC Open. Former UC Riverside point guard Zion Pullen is headed to Gainesville, pick Florida over LSU, although LSU scholarships are full now. Pullen, second guard Florida, has added to the transfer portal, joining former Iona guard Walter Clayton, of course, heading into year 2 under Todd Golden. They were 16-17 a year ago in Gainesville. Pullen was first-team All-Big West a year ago, averaged 18, 4, and 4. Florida's got 2 scholarships open still to fill.
The Missouri Tigers.
Isaiah Mosley, after 4 seasons in college, announced he will not use his COVID year and will be turning pro. Mosley spent 3 years at Missouri State and then this past season with the Missouri Tigers. He is now the 6th player to depart last year's Missouri tournament team who will not be returning for this coming season. Mosley averaged 9, 2, and 2 for the Tigers. Since Mosley has declared his intentions to turn pro after the draft deadline, he is not eligible to be drafted, but he can sign a professional contract. One other note, program has officially announced the hiring of Matt Lodich as the special assistant to the head coach. Lodich has spent the last 7 seasons as the head coach at Valpo.
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
And Pelicans assistant Ryan Pannoni has officially been announced now as Alabama basketball's second assistant coaching hire of the offseason. He joins former Nicholls head coach Austin Claunch on the staff there in Tuscaloosa. The initial reports came out back April 15th. It took more than 2 months to push this thing across the finish line. 3 Alabama assistants took head coaching jobs following the season, so they had to replace the entire staff there under Nate Oates in Tuscaloosa. All right, there you have it. That is Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products. Shout out to our guy Trey Beal and our friends at Gulf Coast Office Products. You need office equipment for whatever industry you may be in. If it's desktops, if it's all-in-ones, fax machines, copiers, printers, all that stuff, all that office products that you may need, they've got you covered. Interactive whiteboards at Gulf Coast Office Products. GCOPnet.com. GCOPnet.com, serving not only all of South Louisiana, they proudly sell the Savin line, a national leader among Savin dealers, but they service all makes and models. It's Gulf Coast Office Products. GCOPnet.com. All right, glad to have you aboard with us here. It's after further review. We'll knock out a quick break. Cade Beloso is going to join us next. Looking forward to that. The LSU senior who patiently bided his time, came back from injury, has been massively productive this year for LSU, and now heads into his final weekend at Alec Box Stadium. And it's with a trip to Omaha on the line, trying to punch that ticket for the first time in his 5-year career. See if they can get it done. Looking forward to having Cade Beloso jump aboard with us next here on AFR.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. It's Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. If you've been injured and it's not your fault, you know what to do. Get Gordon and get it done. Do what injured people in Louisiana have done for more than 30 years. Of course, Gordon McKernan's team of attorneys are all over the state of Louisiana. So you can always call 888-8888, 888-8888, or go to getgordon.com. That's getgordon.com. Website's obviously easy to use, easy to navigate. If you want to get Gordon, you can just hit the tab right there on the homepage, fill out the form, and all the different types of cases that they handle, whether it's Baton Rouge, Lafayette, Alexandria, Shreveport, Ascension, Livingston, Zachary, Hammond, Lake Charles, Monroe, you get it. All over the state of Louisiana, people get Gordon and get it done for Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Love telling you about the G team, how Gordon has completely and totally helped tremendously with NIL opportunities for student athletes, not just here in Baton Rouge, but across different sports and different universities all over the state of Louisiana, continuing to positively impact our communities. That's Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Get Gordon and get it done.
Bayou Ford has $15,000 off plus 0.9% APR for 60 months on all new 22 Ford F-150 SCA trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory, all with Bayou's 1 million-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Hello, Samantha, dear, I hope you're feeling fine. And it won't be long until I'm with
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
LSU and Kentucky Super Regional Baseball at the Box, 2 o'clock on Saturday. For Cade Beloso, it'll be his final weekend of a long career out at Alec Box Stadium, with a chance to punch his ticket to Omaha for the first time. He joins us now. Cade, thanks for the time, man. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure, man. It's great to chat. Have you given any thought to that yet, about it being your final weekend at the Box? Have you allowed yourself to go down that road yet?
Not really. I didn't really think about it until yesterday. I was doing a little media, and the reporter asked me or hit me with that. That was kind of the first time I'd really thought about it. But yeah, I'm trying not to go down that path. But just so thankful for my time here at LSU, and getting the opportunity to play here for 5 years. And it's been a dream come true, and everything and then some. I've had so much fun here. Playing in front of the best fans in the country. Getting the chance to play with some of the best dudes in the country as well, and great coaches. It's just been awesome, man.
Man, you when I think back for 5 years, all the way back to 2018, man, you were an everyday player as a freshman. I mean, 52 RBI and double-digit homers, and I mean, at that point, you had to think. I would imagine you had to think at that point that your career wouldn't have gone where you'd be sitting here 5 years later. But if you do put yourself back there and listen, when it's all done, Cade, and hopefully it ends with a dog pile in Omaha, we'll have a chance to wax poetic a little more. But have you allowed yourself this year to soak that up? Just what your journey has been?
I try not to think back what happened in the past. I just really try to stay focused on the present, where I'm at right now. But I mean, it's just, I don't know, man. I think I've had every role you could have, some really big highs and some really big lows. I've done it all. So I mean, I'm just, like I said, I wouldn't change it for the world. Just all my tragedy or highs here have made me who I am today.
The one other thing that you've experienced in 5 years is gone from the time at LSU where you couldn't have long hair or facial hair to now this point where you can actually let your style flow a little bit. And you have let it flow, my friend. Can we talk a little bit about this? Like, is the beard like the picture? If people are watching, is a very baby-faced, clean-shaven Cade Beloso that we have on the screen right now. Is the beard going to become a permanent fixture post-baseball?
I don't know, man. I just kind of whatever I'm feeling, that week, and thanks, for I was had to shave every day. My beard grows back really fast now just because we had to do that. So, yeah, I mean, it's just kind of whatever I'm feeling. I've been rocking a mustache and a soul patch all year, so gonna keep riding that out, until this season's over, and we'll see what happens from there.
That's so good, man. Hey, look, you mentioned you filled a lot of different roles, right? Do you prefer it when you DH or play in the field?
Yeah, it doesn't matter to me. One, I'm just happy to play, and two, whatever the team needs, I'm more than happy to do that. I enjoy winning more than anything, so whatever's going to put us in the best position to win, that's what I'm happy to do.
We've also seen you bat at different spots in the lineup and with different protection in the lineup, sort of. And I'm curious, like, if you can kind of give us a deep dive answer here. Right now, if you're slotted fifth in the lineup behind Hayden Travinski, how different is it, or is it, batting behind Travinski as opposed to, say, earlier in the year when the 3-4-5 was Cruz, White, and then you?
I think it's kind of similar. They're both really good hitters, and they both have a lot of power. So they're not just gonna groove one in there to either one of them. You'd think. So I go up to the box knowing I'm gonna get a pitch to hit. So you can't just groove one in there to Hayden or Tommy. They're gonna make you pay. So keep that in the back of my mind in the on-deck circle. Just depends on the situation, kind of have a feel for what's coming.
Cade Beloso is our guest. We saw this last weekend in the regional. Of course, you and Hayden Travinski went back-to-back in consecutive days in that spot. And it was kind of interesting because he almost didn't even get to bask in the glow of his moment because you just turned around and pitched just as quickly as you got in the dugout. What was that? Can you put us in the dugout, like in those moments after, like, you get in the dugout after you've hit the homer? Like, what's it like when you talked to Hayden this past weekend when y'all went back-to-back twice?
Just a big old bear hug and let's go, something along the lines of that. We were just so happy, and get the energy back on our side. It's such a momentum change. And there's a lot of them in baseball, but you want to capture them as much as possible. So, the dugout's going crazy and everybody's fired up. But it was fun, man. It was really fun.
Man, I don't have advanced splits or anything like that here in front of me. I know you all do. So I don't really know what an average may look like over the course of your 5 years against a lefty or righty. But we saw you turn around a lefty, and it's kind of impressive always when you see a left-handed hitter turn around a lefty the way that you did. What have you always felt comfortable like that, or how much of a maturation process has there been for you as a hitter throughout your time into this point?
I feel good against him my whole career, really. There's a really big emphasis earlier in my career with Coach Maneri. He was just like, I don't want to take you out of the lineup because you can't hit a left-handed pitcher, so we're going to need to, get on that and figure it out. So that was something I laugh about to this day. And I just, I feel comfortable about it now, and I've had a success against lefties this year. I know that. I'm not a big numbers guy. I don't really care about stats. I care about winning, but I do know that I have a lot of hits off lefties this year and hit for power off of them as well.
A couple more minutes here with LSU senior Cade Beloso getting ready for his final weekend out of the box. It's LSU and Kentucky. I know everyone's going to ask some version of this question, but you already faced Kentucky. What do you take from that series 2 months ago that might be able to help you going into this weekend?
I mean, you could think back and remember what type of team they were. Obviously, they're playing different than they were earlier in the season. No team stays the same over the course of a year. But I do remember them being super gritty and, super tough, and, they run quality at bats, and, they have dudes that can pitch it really well. So, I mean, they're like, a lot of teams in our league, they're really good, and they're going to give us their best bullet, with a trip to Omaha on the line. But, you can't look too much into what we did last time because, like I said, no teams are the same as, 2 months ago.
Yeah. You're also not going to see, likely, the same rotation that you saw 3 months ago or 2 months ago. So how does your preparation, or does your preparation change? Like, are you watching more film or studying the guys that you are likely to see?
I know our coaching staff works really hard. They're the best staff in the country, and huge shout out to them. They're at the field all hours of the day and night, scouting, putting us in the best position possible, who's going to do what with the ball, et cetera. So, I mean, we let all them handle that. I don't know if any hitters actually watch film. It's kind of more of we'll let the coaches do their thing, and basically whenever, like, the day comes we're facing that pitcher, then we'll actually watch film of them before. But we won't do it early in the week.
Hey, man, a couple of more for you, and we appreciate very, very much the time. What was it like for you hitting against Paul Skeens for the first time in practice?
It's unbelievable. I mean, the guy is one of the best pitchers in the country, in the fall. And when he came here in the portal, you're just like, wow, he's pretty special. And then when you face him, it's like, holy crap, the guy's got 4 pitches for strikes in any count. And, anytime he wants to, pull a changeup back 3-2 or, break one off 2-1, it's just like, wow, he's talented. And you could just see that he was a workhorse, and, he just competes so hard, and, he's so focused on what he's doing at all times. But, yeah, it was fun competing against him. It was very fun.
Is as a team, I mean, obviously y'all are a confident group, but I know as fans and as media, we see every time that you all give Skeens the baseball, the expectation is just that the Tigers are going to win that day. I mean, is that your expectation every time, like in that dugout? Like, does the mood change or feel different whenever he's got the ball?
I mean, the type of pitcher he is, he's going to give you a chance to win. But, I mean, I feel confident in all of our guys, not just Paul, that every time they toe the rubber that we're going to win the game. That's just the competitor in me. That's how much we believe in each other and how much we believe in our guys. But, yeah, I mean, Paul gives us a chance to win every game. He's unbelievable, and, he's had a phenomenal year. And he's going to, play baseball for 20-plus years, So it's unbelievable watching him do his deal every Friday.
What's going to be next for you, man?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Just I guess see where life takes me. I have no clue. I've just been, trying to soak up this year as much as possible and, have the most fun I could have ever. And been doing a good job of that so far. This has been a blast for me. I just, I love being around this team and, around the group of guys. But I don't know what's going to happen next, man. I'm just kind of see where life takes me.
Man, we know like a John Curtis guy. What we talk about all the time is you guys from Louisiana, grew up wanting to play for the Tigers. What would it mean for you to end your career in Omaha?
I mean, that's why I came to LSU, is to, win a national championship. And, I feel like my career wouldn't be complete. So that would, that would mean the world to me to do that. And, I want my last time in the box to be a happy experience, not a sad one. I want to be crying because we're going to Omaha, not crying because our season's over. But, Omaha looks so fun on TV, man. And, I heard some great stories about it, from, past players, past coaches and stuff like that. That's something I want to experience so badly, and I know the rest of our team does too. That's all we been focused on this year is, getting there, winning a national championship.
2 wins away from it, man. Good luck this weekend. We appreciate a couple of minutes.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you. Thank you.
That's our pleasure. Cade Beloso joining us here for a couple of minutes on AFR. You think about guys like that, man. We talked about him yesterday, but Cade and Gavin Dugas, these guys that are Louisiana guys that grew up just want to play for the Tigers, and here they have an opportunity after going through a lot. I mean, Gavin's battled injuries his whole career. Cade's battled some injuries. We know what happened a year ago with the torn ACL, and to have an opportunity to be just 2 wins away from Omaha, to have your final game at Alec Box Stadium, a chance to punch your ticket to the College World Series. What a way that would be to punctuate a great career out of the box for a guy like Cade Beloso. So appreciate a couple of minutes there. All right, it's After Further Review. Glad to have you hanging out with us here. Brought to you by Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com. Michelli.com. It's interesting when you look around Louisiana and all of the different industries around Louisiana. If it's, the petrochemical industry, the energy, food and beverage, agriculture, all these different industries all have equipment that weigh and measure things. And all of that equipment has to be calibrated, because if something is off by a decimal, 0.000 decimal, like eventually in aggregate, that becomes very big. That becomes very costly. It's why Michelli Weighing and Measurement, their precision measurement devices and calibration methods are so important. They also offer ISO 17025 accreditation. Their track system gives you 24/7, 365 access to all of your calibration certificates. It's there at Michelli Weighing and Measurement. You can always find them online at Michelli.com. That's Michelli.com, with 30 different offices across 11 different states, literally from sea to shining sea, from Florida to California and points in between. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Check them out online at Michelli.com. That's Michelli.com. Okay, it is After Further Review, and we're glad to have you aboard with us here. We opened this hour looking at the Circa Sportsbook updated win totals for college football. In about 15 minutes from right now, we've got an updated look at NFL win totals and a projection that I want to talk about with the New Orleans Saints. So that, and the Saints are wrapping up OTAs today. So we'll let you hear some more from guys like Derek Carr and Michael Thomas and Eric McCoy and Dennis Allen as they made it through these couple of weeks of OTAs. The Saints getting their work in before the real work begins with training camp coming up at the end of July. Okay, it is After Further Review. We'll knock out our final break here of hour number 1. Stick around. When we come back, really interesting tidbit about recruiting budgets in the SEC and how Brian Kelly has transformed LSU's. This is going to surprise you. That's next. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge. The Renaissance Hotel, one of Baton Rouge's premier hotel properties on Bluebonnet near I-10. You can't miss it. And yes, look, if grandma's visiting for the weekend and you need a place for her to stay, the Renaissance Hotel is an awesome spot. But it's so much more than that as well. You look at their meeting space, for example. You need to hold any type of meeting, a fundraiser, an awards banquet, a school dance. We see fraternity and sorority formals and socials there all the time. Maybe you got a business conference with a lot of employees coming to town. The Renaissance can absolutely host you from a dozen people all the way up to 500 people. Wedding receptions, they do it all at the Renaissance Hotel. So when it's time to host your next event, make sure you think about the Renaissance Hotel right there on Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge. I tell you all the time about Tallulah as well. Casual upscale dining inside of the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Turn my music high, 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 yeah. You don't know what you're doing. Sure I do. I'm from the streets where the hood can swallow on me. Bullets will follow on me. There's so much that you could run the slalom. And cops comb this top to bottom. They say that we are prone to violence, but it's home sweet home. With personalities clashing, chrome meets chrome. Prices up and down like it's Wall Street.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
All right, let's say ah.
Where'd my spotlight go?
Super weird.
After further review with Matt Moscona. Presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
104.5 ESPN and Acura of Baton Rouge want to know how rad is your dad.
Super
Upload
rad.
a picture of your dad doing dad things to 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.com now through June 15th. Sorry, I didn't have .com in there. Now through June 15th for a chance to win him a charter fishing trip for 4, courtesy of LouisianaCharterFishing.com. It's right there. We'll choose a winner at random on June 16th. Happy Father's Day from Acura of Baton Rouge, LouisianaCharterFishing.com, and 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Can I win?
I don't think you're rad enough. I don't think you're a rad enough dad. Yeah, I mean, you don't do dad, like, when they mean dad things, Matt, they mean, like, cutting the grass in crew socks and newbies. Like, that's what they mean. You don't do that.
How do you know?
You've made that very clear that you would just rather pay somebody to do that and you not have to do that. I've heard you say that multiple times.
That might be true about cutting the grass, but there's other.
Okay, I mean, you're gonna
dad things.
You're gonna go fix things around the house.
What does that have to do with dad?
Rad dads do that.
I don't know.
Yeah?
I'll tell you this much. Every year on Father's Day, Erica always gets me and Drew like a matching shirt. And one year, it was these big sunglasses with like this paint splash sort of, what am I thinking? Like neon blue type color. And it said Rad Dad on each of the glasses. Well, not only am I a rad dad, I have the shirt to prove it.
You have the shirt to prove it.
I have the shirt to prove it.
How are you working at Grill? That's a rad dad thing.
I'm fine working at Grill.
All right.
See, you got to remember here, like back in my day, your boy, one of my first ever jobs was I worked at Heads and Tails Seafood, and I was worked in the seafood market. So many a night, I would take home a tuna steak, a piece of fish, throw it on the grill. I got quite adept at different ways to grill. So, yeah, come on.
All right.
And I'm a steak guy as well. So grill's fun. Cutting the grass in Crocs and socks. No, that's not me.
It's rad.
That's not rad. That's lame.
Rad.
That's lame dad is what that is. That's when you're made fun of as a dad.
You have good dad jokes, so I mean that helps too. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
That sounds like a little bit of a backhanded compliment, but
no, dad jokes are awesome.
Okay. Tell me one dad joke I've told.
I mean, literally anytime we have an athlete on this show or a former athlete on this show, and I ask you what's their number, you always give me their jersey number and not their phone number.
That's true.
That's
true.
That
actually just happened.
Dad joke. Yes.
We just had Cade Beloso on, and you said, "What's Cade's number?" And I said 24.
Yes. Which is good.
Look at Paul. Look at Paul.
I mean, it's funny.
Look at Paul. Look at Paul laughing at it. See? You know what Paul is as well?
Rad dad?
He's a rad dad.
Yeah.
See, us rad dads, we stick together on that sort of stuff. I love it. Okay. College football team budgets. How about this? CBS Sports just released this. I was stunned to find this. Georgia leading the way at $4.5 million last year. Texas A&M, $2.9 million. Tennessee, $2.9 million. Alabama, $2.3, followed by Florida, Auburn, Ole Miss, Arkansas, still haven't got to LSU yet, Mizzou, South Carolina. LSU saw its recruiting budget go back to 2019, pre-COVID. LSU's recruiting budget under Ed Ogeron in 2019 was $1.61 million. Last year, LSU's recruiting budget, $742K. In the first year under Brian Kelly, LSU's recruiting budget was slashed by more than half from its pre-COVID number back in 2019. And you still ended up with a consensus top 10 class when you combine both high school and transfer portal. It is the inherent advantage of Louisiana. So much of that. Now, look, Georgia at $4.5 million. A lot of that staff and just ridiculous expense and fat. But when you don't have to get on a plane and fly somewhere to see prospects, it's pretty amazing how much more manageable that budget becomes. All right, hour number 2 coming up right after SportsCenter. Stick around.
AFR.
Brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center. 924-2020. Get it? You want to see 2020? Call 924-2020. Just yesterday, I was in a meeting with our ops manager, Chris Elliott, and he's got a TV in his office that his computer casts onto the TV, and he had an Excel spreadsheet up. And he's like, hey, well, you can just come stand up here closer to see it. I was like, no, I can see it from across the office because I can see 2015. I'm seeing better than 2020. 5 years removed from having LASIK. Interestingly enough, I was talking to Chris Elliott, our ops manager, and he had LASIK some 20 years ago, and he's starting to have other eye issues, which does happen. LASIK doesn't wear off. That's a common misconception. It's just that you could have other eye issues that persist as you get older and your eye ages. So PRK might be a great option. It was a great option for Jacob Hester, and it could be for you as well if you had LASIK years ago. You want to see 2020? Call 924-2020 for the Williamson Eye Center.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $20,000 off new 22 Ram 1500 SCA trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory, all with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
I'm Chris Nakamoto, and here's what I'm working on for my stories on WBRZ Channel 2 tonight. A week after a West Baton Rouge employee pled guilty to stealing money from the sheriff's office, plea agreements show the deal she worked out with federal prosecutors. But there's a hiccup. A federal judge pumping the brakes on it, deferring to accept that agreement until a pre-sentencing review can be conducted. I'm Chris Nakamoto from WBRZ. Watch more tonight on WBRZ Channel 2.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. According to ESPN's Adam Schefter, the Vikings will cut running back Dalvin Cook by tomorrow if they can't work out a last-minute trade. Cook has put up 4 straight 1,000-yard seasons for Minnesota. Meanwhile, Panthers coach Frank Reich says today rookie Bryce Young is his number one quarterback. Young has taken more first-team reps during OTAs than veteran Andy Dalton. Miami Heat guard Tyler Hero is out for Game 4 of the NBA Finals as he recovers from a broken right hand. The Nuggets now leading the series 2-1. Denver coach Michael Malone.
Overall, that's the first time that we won the fourth quarter last night. Held them to 30% from the field. Our defense was much better, and that was a huge point of emphasis as well. First two games, the first three quarters, we had dominated. And both fourth quarters, they had dominated. So we needed to play much closer to 48 minutes, and last night was a good example of that.
Michael Malone, and you can hear more of that interview during our NBA on ESPN Radio coverage of Game 4 starting at 7:30 Eastern tomorrow night. The game also on ABC TV.
A shorthanded summer staff calls for Indeed. Their hiring platform helps attract, interview, and hire candidates all in one place. Sponsor a job and instantly receive a short list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, Matt!
Hey, shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Yusu. And Mr. Toby Tom Play. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. The Pac-12 could be disintegrating before our very eyes. I understand we're in the SEC footprint and you may not care, but how the rest of the college football landscape is structured certainly appeals to everyone that is a college football fan. We'll get to that here in about 15 minutes from right now. Saints today wrapping up OTAs on Thursday. This is sort of the preamble to training camp or mini camp, then training camp coming up at the end of July. And certainly there were a lot of high points here of these last couple of weeks, most notably John Gruden's involvement got an awful lot of conversation. And I would say Michael Thomas hitting the practice field earlier than expected is something that got major national headlines along with here locally as well. But there's a lot of other interesting tidbits as this team is starting the process of forming itself and what it will be for this coming season. I know we've talked win totals a lot, and the Saints were 7-10 a year ago, and there's a lot of things to like about this team. You bring in Derek Carr, you have undoubtedly upgraded at quarterback. It's one of the things we've talked about a lot. Carr gives you your best option to win the maximum amount of games in 2023. Now, is it the best long-term play? I don't believe so, but it's definitely the best option to win a bad division in 2023. Not only did you add Derek Carr, but you got aggressive in the draft, as you normally do, and you added some really nice players, and you've gone in free agency, and you've added Foster Moreau and Jamal Williams. You drafted Kendre Miller, Brian Brzee, Isaiah Foskey. Like, there's a lot to like about what the Saints have done in this offseason. The question is it enough to get them over the hump to win this division and maybe make a run in the playoffs? Well, Pro Football Focus looked at each team in the NFL and their projected win total. For what it's worth, the Saints' projected win total is at 9.5, so they're over under 9.5, basically saying they're going to be either 10-7, 9-8 is where they're going to fall, somewhere in there. And the guys over at Pro Football Focus project that the Saints will go under their projected win total, so does not believe the Saints get to double-digit wins. 9, however, if that's the number where the Saints land, might just be enough to win a very bad division. Aside from the players they've added, we've talked about as well, the Saints have the easiest schedule in the league based on 2022 records. If you look at win-loss records from a season ago, The Saints have the easiest schedule in the league. Big part of that, obviously, is you get to play every team in your division twice, and you were in one of the worst divisions in the NFL. You get to play the NFC North, which was not very good a year ago. So there's a lot to like about this Saints team and the opportunity to have a winning record, a nice bounce-back year, and quite possibly and probably get to the playoffs as a division champion. There are, however, stumbling blocks, obviously. One of the things that Pro Football Focus points out is that the Saints' offensive line and defensive line are projected to be their main weaknesses in 2023. And you know the thing that's the most discouraging about that? If the Saints' offensive and defensive lines are the weaknesses of this team, when you look at what the Saints have invested in drafting along the line of scrimmage, that would be so disappointing. This year, you drafted Brian Brzee in the first round, Isaiah Foskey in the second. A year ago, you took Trevor Penning in round 1. In 2021, Peyton Turner was your first-round draft pick. In 2020, Cesar Ruiz was your first-round draft pick. 2019, you didn't have a first, but your first pick was Eric McCoy, offensive lineman. In 2018, Marcus Davenport. You traded up to take Davenport. In 2017, you had 2 first-round picks. You took Lattimore and Ryan Ramczyk. Go back to 2016. Your first pick was Sheldon Rankins. 2015, your first pick was Andrus Peat. This team, every year since 2015, has used its first-round pick or its first pick in the draft on a lineman. Like, they have built around the line of scrimmage, and for Pro Football Focus to say that the Saints' offensive and defensive lines would be their main weaknesses is disappointing, but it's not hard to see that. I mean, you lost Teron Armstead. You're certainly not as good there at left tackle right now. Is Trevor Penning going to be healthy enough to play? And if he is, how good is he? Don't know. Andrus Peat has never really lived up to the expectation when he was the 13th overall pick. Ryan Ramczyk is maybe the best right tackle in football when he's healthy, but when he's healthy, and Cesar Ruiz has just not been very good at right guard. So part of me gets it. I mean, you used a first-round pick on Peyton Turner. He's played 13 games in 2 years. You've traded Marcus Davenport now. We talked about Sheldon Rankins. He's been gone for a couple of years. It's just, you saw David Onyemata leaving free agency. I'm just spelling it out, all these things that you know, but that's very clearly a reason why the New Orleans Saints are not projected to be very good at the line of scrimmage. Now, the other part of that is the Saints have made some upgrades. We mentioned you drafted Brzee, you drafted Foskey, you went out in free agency and added along your defensive line as well with Colin Saunders and Nathan Shepard. And when you look at the Saints a year ago, there were a lot of games that they were right there, man. You missed the field goal at the gun against the Vikings. I mean, you completely gagged away the second game against Tampa, where you were pitching a shutout, and you gave up a 14-point lead with 2 minutes to play. Week 18 against Carolina at home, gagging away that late. Just you had opportunities. A blink away from winning the division and being a 10-win team. But I can also understand all of the skepticism with this Saints team as well. Now, they go through OTAs this week. Eric McCoy was one of those that met with the media. You talk about the expectations on the line of scrimmage, and McCoy was the only starter on the offensive line who was available during OTAs. And here's what McCoy said about it.
It's been good. It gives me an opportunity to get to learn everybody better, not just as a player, but as a person. Learn their tendencies, how they communicate, and all those things. So, when the inevitable happens in season, I'll have familiarity with those guys.
I mean, that's one way to spin it. The inevitable meaning some guys are going to get injured and you're going to use other people. That does happen. I mean, the most injuries happen along the offensive line in football, and so I do understand that. But at the same time, you don't have your offensive line getting reps together. Now, this was the first time, obviously, for Derek Carr to work with Eric McCoy, and the Saints' new quarterback discussed what it was like working during OTAs with his starting center. It's Carr number 2.
He's very smart. The first couple of times I could tell we'd get up there, we'd break the huddle, and he's making mic points. I'm like, all right, you got that one. We'll let you, because I'm just used to making the points and all that kind of stuff. But you could tell that at least he's right. He knows it. He's smart. I sent him a clip. I don't even know when it was. It was right after I signed. I think some point I was watching film, and I sent him a clip of him running 40 yards down the field to make a block. And I just said, bro, this is so beyond impressive. If we get everybody to play like this,
our number one.
If we can lead everybody and teach everybody to play with that kind of effort, it'd be a special time. And that's just something that just stuck out to me because it wasn't just one time. Then I watched another play that's happened. I was like, I'm not going to text him 18 times, but it's like every time this guy plays so hard and he's so smart and he snaps the ball good. So that's always a plus.
Derek Carr talking about his center, Eric McCoy, who certainly, it was a guy that was drafted out of necessity, but has lived up to all those expectations when he's been on the field. He's been fantastic. One more, though, from Derek Carr. We've heard a lot from Carr about Michael Thomas being on the field, but these OTAs so much were about more than just Michael Thomas. It's about all of the new pieces coming together, not just in rookie minicamp with the newcomers, but this entire roster with the new pieces coming together here in OTAs. And Carr was asked just functionally if this offseason, this preseason, if it's going to be different. Like, will he play more preseason games than he normally does, considering he's got a new team?
This will be 10 years of football and live bullets, and so I haven't played much in the preseason before. I think maybe with Gruden, 1 or 2 total series in 4 years. There were some times that I didn't play at all in the preseason, and we'd still play good in the first couple weeks. So it proved to me that if you practice the right way and you do things with those like joint practices, I don't know if we have them or not, but whenever you have those, like those are better than preseason reps because they actually show stuff. They show the pressures, they show different coverages rather than what they show in the preseason. So that's just how it's been. Now, if they want me to play, I'm not against playing. Anytime I have the opportunity to put that jersey on, and it's a blessing to walk out on that field. So if they need me to play, I'll play.
By the way, the Saints and the Chargers, you heard Derek Carr there mention joint practices. Saints-Chargers expected to hold joint practices, and Saints-Texans typically do that as well during the preseason as well. So you are going to have some of those joint practices and some of those opportunities. I don't need to see Derek Carr play in preseason games, but getting this timing and these reps with his teammates now is important. I do wish, if nothing else, I really wish that the offensive line was out there working as one unit in front of Derek Carr right now, but that time will come in training camp. All right, it is after further review. Saints wrapping up OTAs today, and then we'll go along the schedule, have a little break, they'll have minicamp, and then ultimately they'll hit the practice field for training camp in late July. Okay, it's after further review. Thanks for being here with us. Our Thursday shows is always brought to you by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. All this month, great special on laser hair removal. You buy 4 treatments, you get 2 free. And you hear this all the time. Like a lot of times ladies will do laser hair removal on their legs so they never have to shave their legs again. A lot of men will do laser hair removal on their beards. Men that work at plants that have to shave every day to go into the plant, they'll do laser hair removal on their beard so they don't have to shave as frequently. Even if you don't want to do enough treatments to where you never have to shave again, it'll prevent you from having to shave every single day. It's at the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. All this month, buy 4 treatments of laser hair removal, get 2 free. Online, theantiagingclinics.com, theantiagingclinics.com. All right, it's after further review. While many of the powers that be, including the SEC, are on Capitol Hill talking about NIL and the future of that discussion, the Pac-12 is trying to figure out if it's still going to be in existence after UCLA and USC head to the Big Ten a year from now. And that issue is far from settled. We'll give you the absolute latest when we come back here on AFR.
AFR.
We're brought to you by New Orleans Flooring, online at nolaflooring.com. That's nolaflooring.com. 2 locations. Hey, look, summer is a great time. When the kids are out of school, you're at home, maybe knock out some honeydews, or you're just looking around the house, trying to check off all those home improvement projects. This could be a great time to get those new floors. If you want hardwood flooring or tile or carpet, whatever it may be, if it's for your home, for an office building, maybe you're a contractor and you have an industrial building, a full apartment complex. Remember, so many contractors, we say this all the time, buy where the pros buy. They buy at New Orleans Flooring because it's all about the bottom line. How can you reduce expenses so money drops to the bottom line? Well, that's why contractors use New Orleans Flooring, because they're going to save you 40, 50, 60% on the same flooring you'd buy anywhere. At New Orleans Flooring, they have a good, better, and best option of all different types of flooring, and you'll always get amazing discounts because they cut out the middleman. It's at New Orleans Flooring. Check them out online, nolaflooring.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance jobs, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. And I think we're rocking and rolling.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Man, I'm so excited for Saturday. Going to Don Juan Cigar Bar. Y'all should come hang out. Me and T-Bob. Be smoking cigars and drinking whiskey or beer, whatever you're, or T-Bob's case, like an entire bottle of mezcal, watching baseball. Hey, did you see T-Bob today, Muse, by the way? Did you see him in the building?
I did see him.
He's got a new LSU baseball jersey.
I saw that.
I think Hester stole it out of the equipment room.
That could have happened.
That's what he told me. He said Hester just swiped it out of the equipment room. Yeah. And you know what I don't like about it? They don't have, like, we've talked about this before. I hate that the jerseys don't have buttons.
Oh, it's terrible.
I mean, it's just a glorified batting practice jersey.
Yeah, it's a pullover.
It's a BP jersey. It's a pullover.
It's like a sweater.
What are we doing? I don't know if that's LSU's decision or if that's Nike's decision, but we got to do better than that. But nonetheless, T-Bob will probably be wearing that or his white pinstripe jersey that I think Nolan Cain gave him.
Yeah.
It's Cain's old number is 39, so I think it was one of Nolan's jerseys maybe, or maybe Nolan just gave it to him. But either way, yeah, man, I'm super pumped. Are you coming?
No,
Why not?
Because I'm going to the box.
We're going to have way much more fun. You're going to be sitting on a piece of metal in the sun and heat.
It's probably going to rain at some point, too.
And it's going to rain. And you're like, we're going to
I'll go drink beer during the rain delay.
What do you think I'm going to be doing?
You're going to be drinking whiskey.
Probably. I might have a beer.
Okay.
Yeah, mix it up a little bit.
I don't blame you. No, I'm going to the game.
Oh, we're having way more fun than you. I guarantee.
I disagree.
Paul, would it be more fun to hang out at Don Juan, having elegant cigars, premium cocktails, air condition, a comfortable cushioned leather chair, and a high-def TV, or sitting on a small piece of metal baking in the sun, possibly dodging raindrops, and listening to Musso yell at the third baseman?
I'm definitely going Don Juan.
Yeah, for sure.
You
Don
had me
Juan.
at air condition.
Yeah, of course. Right?
Yeah.
Come on.
And the cushion seats.
Air condition, overrated.
And so you don't have to deal with Musso. You're just yelling at the field. I've heard about those
That's
people down the third baseline. They're like, oh, God, we've known Musso forever.
Yeah.
He just says he's that guy. He just yells at everybody. And
We get
he's
hype.
obnoxious.
We get hype.
Nobody can hear you except the people around you, and you're ruining their time.
That's not true.
You're ruining their time.
That is not.
You're ruining
no,
my
no.
day.
I'm talking about people can't hear me. That is not true. Oh, they can
I
hear
heard
me.
Musso yelling from down the hall the other day.
Musso yells at the computer every day in here.
Yep.
He does.
I mean, I've never heard someone curse a piece of machinery as much as Musso curses out that computer.
I've gone back on the TV copy, like watched it, and heard myself yell.
Yeah, but you know you're listening for yourself.
No.
Yeah.
No.
It's like those midweek games when there's 17 people there after a rain delay.
No. One of them was this year, one of the Arkansas games.
Nobody heard you.
They hear me.
Because you know the sound of your voice. That's why. Anyway, LSU and Kentucky this weekend. Looking forward to it. Best 2 out of 3. You know that by now. The only start time that we know is 2 o'clock Saturday on ESPN. Jay Johnson was on off the bench this morning. He visits with the guys every Thursday. They asked him about the bullpen. This is the best he's felt about the bullpen since all the injuries early in the year.
Yeah, for sure. I think the 2 games that we won at Georgia, we pitched really well out of the pen. Game 3 was a little tricky. I actually didn't think they pitched bad. We didn't play very good defense in that game. Like, that was actually our worst defensive game of the season from my account. But then in Hoover, Ackenhausen against South Carolina, Riley Cooper against Arkansas, and then a couple of those guys threw well out of the pen against A&M. And they just they're improving, and that's part of this deal. Is like, you know, we play such a good schedule. You're going to get kicked in the teeth a little bit, but if you keep going with them, you're going to get a breakthrough. And we've gotten some breakthroughs with guys like Herring and Guidry and Hurd and those guys.
But the other part of that, he's right, but the other part of that, too, is you shorten your pen by the time you get to the postseason. Like, in the regular season, of course, yes, you're playing to win every weekend in the SEC, but there are 2 real fundamental differences. Number one, as you're making your way through the regular season, you also want to find out what guys can do. Can I trust this person in this role? Is he a better short reliever, long reliever? How are you the second time in a weekend if we go to you twice in a weekend? Are you better starting for short outing, middle relief, or finishing a game? Like, think about Gavin Guidry. We've seen Gavin Guidry as the closer. We've seen him as the starter. We've seen him in relief roles. We've seen Thatcher Hurd in every role. Weekend, midweek, starting, closing, long relief. We've seen him in all. So you learn who can do what. And by the time you get to the postseason, you shorten your bullpen. I mean, that's one thing certainly is you're in the regular season, you're figuring out what you have. At this point, there's no more figuring out. There's no more, let me see how this guy responds in this role. Like, you have to know who you're going to in situations. That's one. The other part is your strategy changes completely in the postseason. Like this, in an SEC weekend, you know you're going to play 3 games no matter what. I mean, unless there's rain, understand, like what happened with South Carolina. But I mean, you have 3 games on the schedule. This weekend, if you win the first 2, you're in Omaha. So any chance you have to win a game in the postseason, you go with your best guys. T-Bob and I talked about this last night on Scone and T. When the last time LSU was in Omaha in 2017, the first game they played against Florida State, Alex Lang started the game. Jared Poche came in relief, and Zach Hess closed, and they won the game 6-5. That was the first game in Omaha. They used their 3 best arms. So you do what you have to do to win a game and get in the winner's bracket. And then once you're there, do whatever you have to do that gives you the best chance to win that game that day. It's not thinking, well, I got to save this guy for a potential game 3. No. It's, what do I do to win right now? And that is your approach. Coaches say all the time, we heard Jay say this during the SEC tournament. Now, we play every game like it's the postseason. We're all in to win every game. No, you're not. I mean, it's not to say you're not trying. The players on the field aren't trying, but absolutely, you're not playing every game like you play the postseason. I mean, otherwise, you'd be starting Paul Skeens in the midweek. It's not realistic. Your approach changes as your pre-conference and your midweek, then you get into conference games. Then once you get to the postseason, you have to know who your lineup is. Who is your everyday lineup? Who do you trust in what roles? And who out of the bullpen are you going to in what spots? So you've shortened your bullpen. Like, I don't think in this postseason, you're going to see guys like Sam Dutton and, well, obviously, there's guys at the back of the bullpen. I don't need to sit here and name them all. You know who they are. But let me instead say you're going to see Paul Skeens and Ty Floyd and Thatcher Hurd and Nate Ackenhausen and Riley Cooper and Griffin Herring and Gavin Guidry and probably Javen Coleman. Like, that's 8. That's it. It's hard for me to imagine, unless if you're up 10 or down 10, seeing anyone other than those 8 guys. You've just shortened your bullpen entirely. Like, you know the guys at this point, after 60 games, who you can trust and in what roles you can trust them. So go in. Go into this weekend. All right, it's After Further Review. Brought to you by HUDCO Roofing, HUDCOroofing.com. Matter of fact, I was just looking. My phone pinged there in the break. Got a HUDCO group chat, and it was apparently downpouring at the 10-12 split just a bit ago here in Baton Rouge. But listen, this past weekend, all over Louisiana, the deluge came. There was hail in St. Gabriel, in Baton Rouge, in Central, in New Orleans, in Lafayette. HUDCO has boots on the ground in every market in this state. So no matter where you are, we would love the opportunity to give you a free, no-obligation roofing inspection. You don't even have to be home. All you have to do is just go to the website, HUDCOroofing.com. Right there on the homepage, it's the inspection form. It'll take you 30 seconds to fill it out. Someone will call and we'll schedule an inspection. You don't even have to be home for us to come do the inspection. We'll give you a full inspection report, pictures, all that sort of stuff detailed. And if we recommend a repair, replacement, and need to file with your insurance, we'll help you do that as well to get your claim approved. HUDCO Roofing and HUDCOroofing.com. Tell you every day, do business with someone you know. That's us. HUDCO Roofing and HUDCOroofing.com. Give us a buzz, 364-1007. And when you do, ask about Fortified Roofing. I'll remind you again, Fortified Roofing may very well, with this legislative session, become standard in Louisiana. A lot of Gulf Coast states already have a mandate of fortified roofing. And if it becomes a mandate in Louisiana, HUDCO is the first ever Louisiana-based certified fortified roofing company. So we've been installing fortified roofs already. We can help you out. And fortified roofs can save as much as 52% on your homeowner's insurance. HUDCO Roofing and HUDCOroofing.com. Okay, what time is it? All right, it's After Further Review. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. Keep an eye on this, y'all. I just want to put this bug in here. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this, but I want to send it, just sort of float this out there, just so you know that this is on your radar and something worth keeping an eye on. Of course, the SEC powers that be are right now in Washington, D.C., and they're talking about the future of NIL and yada, yada, yada. Meanwhile, out west, the Pac-12 is still working on a new television contract. And what's interesting about this, of course, is next year, in 2024, Texas and Oklahoma are coming to the SEC. USC, UCLA are going to the Big Ten. Both the Big Ten and the SEC new TV contracts go into effect, and their revenues are just going to exponentially grow. The ACC is looking at its grant and rights. Everyone else outside of the SEC and the Big Ten are looking at what can we possibly do to survive. And maybe one of the most impressive things that's happened is the Big 12's survival here. Because the Big 12 has been poached 3 times now. Remember, initially it was Colorado and Nebraska. Colorado went to the Pac-10 at the time, and Nebraska went to the Big 10. Then Texas A&M and Missouri came into the SEC. At that point, the Big 12 added TCU and West Virginia. And now we see Texas and Oklahoma coming to the SEC, and as a result, the Big 12 added Houston, BYU, Cincinnati, and UCF, which all joined the league this year. Is Colorado, Arizona State, Utah next? I don't know, but what we do know is that the Big 12 didn't stand by. Brett Yormark went and renegotiated a new TV deal a year before their deal expired, so as to get their deal done before the Pac-12 did. So the Pac-12 still does not have a TV deal done. Anyway, the University of Arizona held a conference on the future of college athletics in Washington. Charlie Baker was the president of the NCAA, was one of the speakers, as was Arizona President Robert Robbins, who said, and Steve Berkowitz of USA Today quoted him on Twitter about finding solutions. He said, quote, the desperate problem we have in college athletics is in the ICU, is what he put. That's, again, Arizona President Robert Robbins. To be very clear, college athletics is not in the ICU. The NCAA last year alone generated more than $1.1 billion in revenue. College athletics aren't in the ICU. Leagues like the Pac-12 are in the ICU. The structure of college athletics as we know it are in the ICU. That's what's at risk, not college athletics. There's never going to come a day where we're not playing college football. There's just way too much history, depth, roots, passion, investment, resources all into it. It's never going away. Now, there may be some sports that are casualties. There will be fundamental changes, be it Title IX or NIL or our college athletes, employees, all these different things that have to be sorted out. But to suggest that college athletics as a whole is in the ICU is fundamentally stupid. It's a $1 billion annual business that's only growing. What will happen is we're, I think, inevitably headed toward the one super league of college football, which, great. As a college football fan, are you really aching on a football Saturday to watch LSU beat the crap out of Grambling this year? No, nobody wants to see it. Can you give me 12 college football games of LSU against SEC or Power 5 opponents, and that's what the best 60 teams in the country play every year? Yes, please give me that. I'm very, very interested in that. Please give me more of that. That's where we're headed, inevitably. When we get there, how we get there, I don't know. What's it called? I don't know. But the Pac-12, I don't think is going to make it across that finish line. The Big 12 pulled the rug out from under them in good form. And Arizona, Arizona State, Colorado, and Utah are likely all going to head to the Big 12 at some point as well. And we'll see what that league looks like. But right now, and if that happens, likely Washington and Oregon go to the Big 10 as well, and the Pac-12 just disintegrates. They're going to disintegrate like Big East football disintegrated. It's almost an inevitability at this point. So, no. College athletics are not on ICU. The structure as we know it, you could certainly say that. You could most definitely say that the Pac-12 is in the ICU, Robert Robbins, but no, not college athletics, not the $1.1 billion annual business. That's quite healthy, as a matter of fact. Okay, it's after further review. We're brought to you by Traction, TractionSports.com, TractionSports.com, Traction, where champions are made. Remember, Traction baseball camps all summer long. If your kids are driving you crazy and you want to get rid of them for half day, full day, week at a time, the whole summer, Traction baseball camps have got you covered. Go to TractionSports.com, TractionSports.com. Also, it's a great opportunity to remind you, for your son or daughter, no matter what sport they play, Traction has individual training, sport-specific training, one-on-one with the same trainers that train the pro athletes that come and work through Traction. So you want to work out with Tevin, who's training all these guys getting ready for the NFL draft, like your son or daughter can train with Tevin or with Mac or any of the great trainers over at Traction. Sport-specific performance training. They got it for you at Traction. TractionSports.com, TractionSports.com. Traction, where champions are made. All right, y'all. It's after further review. When I got a quick break, let's hear much more from Jay Johnson as the Tigers get ready for Super Regional play this weekend out at the box. Thanks to Cade Beloso, who was with us about an hour ago. If you missed that conversation, we'll get it to you on demand at 1045ESPN.com, presented by Breck Golf. Kendall Rogers coming up in 45 minutes as well. We'll preview the Super Regionals with college baseball's preeminent baseball writer, Kendall Rogers, in 45 minutes. Stick around here with us. It's AFR.
AFR.
If you need a place to watch all of your Super Regional action, no better spot than Pluckers, either location, Nicholson or Bluebonnet. Dine-in, carry-out, or delivery. 28 flavors of award-winning jumbo chicken wings, ice-cold draft beer, full-service bar, sports on TV. That's Pluckers. Have an ice-cold draft beer and, I don't know, a dozen wings, however many wings you want. Or on a night like tonight, Thursday night, all you can eat, boneless buffalo bites. It's white meat chicken, breaded, fried, tossed in your favorite wing sauce, and you can eat as many of them every Thursday night as you want until you're done eating them. That's at Pluckers. So get there early, stay there late. Pluckers is open until midnight or later every night of the week. You got a full slate of Major League Baseball games today and into this evening. So you want to watch all your MLB action, all your Super Regional action this weekend, the NBA Finals, the NHL, Stanley Cup Finals. You can watch it all at Pluckers. Remember, Pluckers, if you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $20,000 off new 22 Ram 1500 SCA trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory, all with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
The best kept.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Muse, you getting nervous yet over there about this weekend?
I wouldn't say nervous. I don't think nervous is the right word. I'm expecting a hard-fought series. Like, I'm not expecting LSU to just go in and beat Kentucky 16-6 over the course, twice in the weekend. I think the Wildcats are better than they were in April, but I think LSU's a better baseball team than them, period. So, I mean, I wouldn't say nervous, but I'm definitely looking at this one a little bit differently than I looked at the last one. That being said, I think LSU wins the first two games and goes to Omaha. They're just a little bit more tense than the others.
Yeah, Paul Skeens is going to do Paul Skeens stuff, and you're going to go win on Saturday, and then I think LSU's bats will just explode in game 2. So I think LSU wins it in 2 games. I'll give you the spoiler that I'll give you tomorrow. But I am looking at weather.com here.
Yeah, it's terrible.
And I regret to inform you that there is a 33% chance of isolated thunderstorms on Saturday.
Makes sense. I mean, it's June in southeast Louisiana. There's a 30% chance of thunderstorms every afternoon.
That's not true. Tomorrow it's a 15%, mostly sunny.
Okay, 15. That 15% can turn into 100 real fast. That's the point.
Sunday's 15% as well.
Like on last Saturday, there's a 20% chance of rain, and you played 7 innings of baseball all day on a 20% chance of rain.
Yeah.
When I saw the time, 2 o'clock, I was mad. I was like, that sucks. You're going to have to deal with the same thing you dealt with last weekend.
Clouds, possible isolated thunderstorms in the afternoon, gusty winds, small hail are possible. If you get hail, call HUDCO. You know that.
Sounds just like last Saturday.
Yeah, doesn't it? A chance of rain, 30%. So, let's see. You know what, Muse? If we do get some rain on Saturday, you know where you'll find me.
I do. You'll be at Don Juan's Cigar Bar.
Cozy chair, puffing on a stogie, having me a nice little whiskey. Paul's coming. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, look at him.
I don't.
Paul, you coming?
Yeah, God, he looks so excited.
Paul's coming. Right, Paul?
Probably not.
We got our guy for the draft party. I don't know if we're gonna get him again.
I'll take it. Small victories.
Yeah.
We'll do. All right. It's after further review. By the way, speaking of the draft party, what a segue. Probably an unintentional segue as well. There is a there's a piece up at ESPN.com, and they sort of ranked or took a deep dive look at the upcoming draft class at quarterback. And I get it. We are a year away from this, right? We're not even close to it. And a lot's going to change. 2 years ago at this time, everyone was projecting Spencer Rattler as the number 1 pick in the draft. He lost his job to Caleb Williams at Oklahoma and then transferred to South Carolina. By the way, Spencer Rattler is in this upcoming draft class. How odd is that? He's back at South Carolina. The guy who at this point 2 years ago was the projected number 1 pick in the draft is still in college and is not projected as a first-round pick ever. But, man, I was looking at this thing they put together, and you see the top names with Caleb Williams and Drake May and Quinn Ewers and Michael Penix. They even include J.J. McCarthy and Bo Nix among the top names to know. That's a little surprising, right? To have J.J. McCarthy and Bo. Like, I think of it in these terms. Would I want Bo Nix to quarterback my team in the NFL? And the answer is no. I'm not interested in that in any way.
Yeah, the answer is no.
But then they list, all right, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Look up real quick how many quarterbacks were taken in this year's draft class. I think it was 9. Or maybe it was more than that. Please just look up how many were taken. So Caleb Williams, Drake May, Quinn Ewers, Michael Penix, J.J. McCarthy, Bo Nix. That's the top 6. That doesn't even include, how many?
14.
Okay, 14. So the next 20, okay, Brennan Armstrong, who just left Virginia for NC State, Carson Beck at Georgia, Jaden Daniels. These are alphabetical. Dylan Gabriel, Sam Hartman, who's now at Notre Dame, KJ Jefferson, who's been a really good quarterback at Arkansas, Devin Leary, who's now at Kentucky, Riley Leonard at Duke, Grayson McCall, who's had a great college career at Coastal, Joe Milton, who may have the most explosive boom-type potential. They list Michael Pratt at Tulane, Spencer Rattler, Cam Rising, who I don't know if he's going to be a great pro, but he's certainly been a heck of a college quarterback. Will Rogers, who's slung it around a good bit at Mississippi State there under Mike Leach's offense. Shadur Sanders, Deion Sun, Jeff Sims at Nebraska, Talia Tagovailoa, who's had some high moments at Maryland, Jordan Travis at Florida State, DJ Uiagalelei, who was a 5-star and certainly has the physical ability, Cameron Ward, who's now at Washington State, wasn't Incarnate Word. That doesn't even include guys like Tyler Van Dyke, who a year ago some were projecting as a first-round pick, Keaton Slovis, who was a former 5-star who started his career at Southern Cal. Like, this is a loaded quarterback class. And, I mean, I think of, like, the best quarterback draft classes of all time. Like, NFL.com did this a couple of years ago. They rated 2005. They did the top 5 quarterback draft classes ever. In reverse order, they had 2005, which had Aaron Rodgers, Alex Smith, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Matt Castle, Jason Campbell, Kyle Orton, Derek Anderson. So 2005. 4 was 1957. That had Len Dawson, Sonny Jurgensen, Jack Kemp, John Brody, and Milt Plum. 1971, which had Archie Manning and Joe Theismann and Jim Plunkett, Ken Anderson, Lynn Dickey. The number 2 class of all time, they said was 2004. That was Big Ben, Eli Manning, Phillip Rivers, Matt Schaub. And the number 1 class that everybody talks about all the time back in 1983, Elway, Dan Kelly, Jim Kelly, Dan Marino, Ken O'Brien. That class, Todd Blackledge was in that class as well back in 1983. I look at this and I go, you could in turn end up looking at Caleb Williams, Drake May, Quinn Ewers, Michael Penix, J.J. McCarthy, Bo Nix, Spencer Rattler, Jaden Daniels, Joe Milton, Michael Pratt. I mean, you're looking at Jordan Travis, DJU, Cam Rising, Will Rogers. This could end up being. I mean, on paper right now, this looks like the deepest quarterback draft class I can remember. And I just think, man, if you're the Saints, you have, like, I'm not wrong in saying this, am I? Like, I know you just drafted a quarterback, but if you're the Saints, you have to be aggressive in this draft class. I mean, I know you got Derek Carr under contract, but you can off-ramp that contract after a couple of years. And if in this draft class you have great value because of the sheer number of quarterbacks in this draft class, why wouldn't you do what Green Bay did when they drafted Aaron Rodgers and they still had Brett Favre? Or when they drafted Jordan Love? Or what Kansas City did when they drafted Patrick Mahomes? You realize that Alex Smith was a Pro Bowler in 2017? I mean, like, there's no reason not to pull the trigger on a guy like that. So you got a guy, man, with this draft class, there's probably going to be a great value. I mean, I know you took Jake Haener in the 4th round, but come on, man. In this draft class, you were going to have massive potential in the middle rounds, even if you don't pull the trigger in round 1 on a potential future franchise quarterback. Saints got to do it, man. All right, it's after further review. Muso is going to do Tigers and the pros when we come back to wrap up hour number 2. Speaking of Saints and potential roster trade, there was a projection that I saw of the Saints trading for the former number 2 overall pick in the draft. I want to talk about that coming up in 13 minutes. Don't you move. It's AFR.
AFR.
I just got a text a bit ago. I don't know if you saw this, but this literally just happened. Elon Musk, of course, is the Tesla CEO. He and the CEO of GM, General Motors, they've reached an agreement for GM to adopt Tesla's North American charging standard to provide GM customers access to over 12,000 Tesla superchargers across the U.S. and Canada. I know, so Tesla's charger station is now the main standard for Tesla, GM, and Ford. Y'all, electric vehicles are the now. They're not going away. There's only more and more adoption. And if you don't drive one, that's fine. I'm not telling you to get rid of your ICE engine and drive an EV, but it's also naive to ignore the fact that people drive them. If you're a business owner, you got to have an EV charger at your business. ProCharge EV can help. ProChargeEV.com. ProChargeEV.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hello, Samantha, dear, I hope you're feeling fine. And it won't be long until I'm with you all the time. But until then, I spend my money up right down on my last dime. Come home, live Baton Rouge. I'm ready, what you put me on through. Gotta send my love down the
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 7.
After Further Review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Wrapping up hour number 2, Muso has Tigers in the Pro.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now. Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, where Baton Rouge gets engaged.
All right. Start with some transaction news, kind of. One of them absolutely is. The other one, just a report to keep an eye on. Florio and Chris Sims today on their show over at NBCSports.com, Pro Football Talk. They discussed a report that the Minnesota Vikings are fielding calls on Danielle Hunter. Hunter, into his final year of his contract, is owed $5.5 million. Of course, you saw what happened with Dalvin Cook earlier today, that he's fixing to be out in Minnesota. Might Danielle Hunter be next? We will wait and see. Some very good news transaction-wise comes in the form of Cole Henry, who was activated off of the minor league IL for a shoulder.
Come on now.
He will now join the starting rotation at AA Harrisburg. He completed a rehab assignment after his thoracic outlet syndrome surgery. 4-start rehab assignment in Low A Fredericksburg and High A Wilmington. Posted a 1.20 ERA, 16-3 strikeout to walk ratio over 15 innings. He should eventually rise back to the AAA club in Rochester. Speaking of minor league baseball, we'll start with Jacob Berry.
Jacob Berry. Yeah!
Hey, yeah.
But we need the longer...
I know. We'll get to that. He had been hurt and, quite honestly, just not playing very well, so there wasn't really reason for it. But last night, our guy, Jacob Berry...
But there is now.
I know, but that's why we're bringing it back, and I'll fix it. That's the point of what I was saying.
But you're doing it now, so why didn't you fix it before the show?
I didn't. He went 1 for 3 last night with a single. What, Paul? What's so funny about that?
Well, I mean, you knew you were going to do the Jacob Berry bit on the show. Why wouldn't you fix it? Jacob Berry. Why wouldn't you fix it?
I, to be honest, I didn't think about it. Anyway, Jacob Berry went 1 for 3 with 2 RBI last night. Needed outing for him. And on the Sky Carp, they were victorious 8-5.
Sky Carp.
The Sky Carp. Flying fish. Todd Peterson.
Ted Peterson.
Couldn't find it. Got tagged with the loss last night.
That's what she said.
Kind of stunk. He threw 2 1/3. He was really good. The fact that he got saddled with the loss stunk. 2 hits, 1 run, struck out 3 over the 2 1/3 inning as well. Todd Peterson, now 1-3 on the year. Kramer Robertson, solid last night. 2 for 4 was Kramer. Both of them singles, scored twice, drove in a run as well. The average, which was around like 150 a couple weeks ago, now up to 194. Kramer's starting to see it a little bit. Golf for you. RBC Canadian Open. Sam Burns, 1 over par. That was his first round score. He's tied for 82nd, but is just 6 shots off the lead after round 1. Not a bad spot to be. Curtis Thompson, shot 6 over par today on the Korn Ferry Tour. That's Tigers in the Pros.
Funny how you only mention him when he plays poorly. Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, LMFJ.com, LMFJ.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Ladies, if you're buying for the man in your life for Father's Day, great watches, other great options. And gentlemen, if you're thinking of popping the question, go where Baton Rouge and all of Louisiana has gone to get engaged for more than 40 years. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, LMFJ.com. Sports Center coming up.
AFR.
But first, I get to remind you about Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Energy-efficient replacement windows, beautiful entry doors, hardy plank and vinyl siding. You know they do it all over at Relief Windows. By the way, real quick, Relief Windows showroom. You can always go by the showroom. Walk-ins are always welcome. Airline Highway in Prairieville, going south on Airline, cross Highway 42, about a quarter mile on the right. You can't miss it. They always have an associate Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, ready to help you answer your questions. Or you can always schedule an appointment. Remember, it's energy-efficient replacement windows and beautiful entry doors, hardy plank and vinyl siding. That hardy plank and vinyl siding can make your home more energy efficient. Come finished in whatever color you want. It won't chip or crack or peel. It's also fire resistant, so it's going to make your home safer. You can learn more at reliefwindows.com. That's reliefwindows.com. Lifetime warranty on labor, material, and glass breakage. It's at Relief Windows and reliefwindows.com.
I'm Chris Nakamoto, and here's what I'm working on for my stories on WBRZ Channel 2 tonight. A week after a West Baton Rouge employee pled guilty to stealing money from the sheriff's office, plea agreements show the deal she worked out with federal prosecutors. But there's a hiccup. A federal judge pumping the brakes on it, deferring to accept that agreement until a pre-sentencing review can be conducted. I'm Chris Nakamoto from WBRZ. Watch more tonight on WBRZ Channel 2.
Bayou Ford has $15,000 off plus 0.9% APR for 60 months on all new 22 Ford F-150 SCA trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory, all with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Turn my music high, 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 yeah. You don't know what you're doing. Sure I do. I'm from the streets where the hood can swallow on me. Bullets will follow on me. There's so much that you could run the slalom. And cops comb this top to bottom. They say that we are prone to violence, but it's home sweet home. With personalities clashing, chrome meets chrome. Prices up and down like this Wall Street.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch on Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. ESPN's Adam Schefter reports the Vikings will cut veteran running back Dalvin Cook if they can't work out a trade. By cutting Cook, the team will save $9 million in cap space. Where will Cook end up? ESPN's Booger McFarland.
You start to think of teams that are going to run the ball a lot, man. You know, teams like the Miami Dolphins. I think him being from South Florida, the ties, he went to Florida State. Oftentimes when things make too much sense, you know, we tend to kind of gloss over them. But, I mean, it makes too much sense for him to go to the Dolphins.
Booger McFarland on Greeny. Adam also reports the Broncos will sign pass rusher Frank Clark to a one-year deal worth up to $7.5 million. Denver coach Sean Payton says there will be plenty of churn on his roster in the coming weeks. Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final tonight in Florida with the Vegas Golden Knights leading the Panthers 2-0. And ESPN's Mark Schlabach reports even with this week's stunning golf merger, LIV Golf is not going away. A LIV official tells Schlabach LIV will still be a standalone entity.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive can help you protect your home, auto, boat, motorcycle, ATV, and RV, and more. And if something wasn't mentioned that you had in mind, find out if it can be covered at Progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE, because it probably can be.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Yusuf. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you're driving home with us. This just came across Twitter. Neil Everett's leaving Sports Center and ESPN after 23 years. Bartender, Jack. Love that one. Everyone's got their favorites, right? Muse, you got your favorite Neil Everett line? His quote?
Yeah, Bartender Jack's a good one, but we were talking in the break. He used to always call the San Diego Padres the dads.
The dads. No need to tell them we were talking in the break.
And I loved it. It was so good.
They don't know that we were
And when he would give the time of things in Hawaiian, he'd like always mention Hawaii time. I liked that too.
He worked in Hawaii.
Yeah, for a long time, I think.
For a long time before he went to Sports Center. So, yeah, Neil Everett, 61 years old. Neil Everett was a guest on AFR several years back. Enjoyed chatting with him. And I'm trying to remember why. There was something. I don't know. I don't know what I talked about last hour, let alone when I talked to Neil Everett years ago. I'm just proud to remember Neil Everett was a guest on AFR years ago. But anyway, good. 61 years old. Said, hey, it's just time. It's time for what's next. 23 years at ESPN. It's time. Time for what's next. Good luck to him. The dads is pretty good. Called San Diego Padres. The dads. Yeah, that's sick. All right, it's after further review. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. Kendall Rogers in 12 minutes. We'll preview Super Regional Baseball out at the box. Not only Super Regional Baseball at the box, but also the rest of the Super Regionals. Kendall was supposed to be in Baton Rouge, and he's going to instead head to Fort Worth for the TCU Indiana State Super Regional. So I asked Muse last hour if he was nervous about the Super Regional, and he kind of hemmed and hawed and was like, that's how you sounded. That's all I heard, Muse, was you go. I heard you go.
Well, I'm not nervous. I just don't expect LSU to completely roll through them.
That's what I heard. But if this were going to be or expected to be a very competitive Super Regional, Kendall would be here. I'll put it to you that way. So hopefully Tigers take care of business. We'll see. But, man, we will go deep dive into the Super Regional tomorrow. We'll have Terrio with us. The Riot Radio Hours will resume after I was out for a couple of Fridays. So looking forward to having Terrio back. We'll be at Rouse's tomorrow. We'll go deep dive into the Super Regional. We'll take a deeper look at Kentucky, as we've talked a good bit about them. And we know this team from Kentucky offensively, they're not a high-scoring offense. They get on base and they do pester you. But the biggest transformation for Kentucky in the last 2 months has been pitching, and their pitching depth has sort of evolved and emerged. And, I think maybe for me the biggest question from an LSU standpoint is you've got Paul Skeens. Kentucky did okay against Skeens. They had 5 runs and 7 hits in 6 innings. Now they see him for a second time. How does that matchup go, which will be interesting. You can always shoot us your questions. Email us, tweet us, text us, jump in the Buy Ford YouTube chat. You can always text 225-396-4400, 396-4400. John sent a text and said, is there any scenario where Skeens pitches on Sunday based on pitching matchups? No. Literally no. I want to reiterate. I think you all know this, but I'm just going to verbalize this. Your strategy in the postseason changes. When you have a guy like Paul Skeens, who is your unquestioned horse, the guy at the front of your rotation, who you feel like every time you give him the ball, you go win, you always want to play into the winner's bracket. And so when you have a chance to give Paul Skeens the ball in a super regional and go win the first game, you do it. And that's what they're going to do this weekend. Paul Skeens is going to get the ball game 1. The only way, presumably, that you could see any type of scenario where you don't give the ball to Paul Skeens on Saturday is if the weather looks horrendous and it looks like there might be starts and stops, and you fear the scenario that happened against South Carolina, which as of now, that doesn't look like it's a possibility, but that's literally the only possibility that could transpire that would move him. I got this question as well on Twitter from Harley, who said, any chance you think they might go to Bryce Collins at some point in the postseason? No, I don't. Do you disagree? I heard you over there. I don't know if that was an agreement or a disagreement.
I think it would have to be a situation where they're potentially in a game 3 this weekend. I don't think you see in the first 2 days. Although he did have a lot of success against Kentucky, 2 1/3 shutout in game 3.
I don't know, again, how you get to a scenario where, unless you're up 10, down 10, that you see a guy like, and last hour I told you, I didn't want to start naming names. I mean, we all understand. But what's a scenario that would unfold where Jay Johnson would go to Bryce Collins over any of the other guys we mentioned? I mean, you would have to be so deep into your pen to justify that, because you saw it this last weekend in the regional. You've got other guys clearly that he trusts. I mean, on Monday, you saw after Riley Cooper, who clearly Jay trusts.
Yeah.
And he even said it in the in-game interview. He said, that's a guy who, big game experience. He's pitched in Omaha. He's pitched in Super Regionals. They went to Ackenhousing. They went to Herring. They went to Guidry. He's telling you who he trusts. I mean, I don't know a scenario, unless you're up 10, down 10, where you see guys like that. So
I don't know. I look at game 3 as a potential whole staff for them, and that's gotten out of whack on them a couple times this year. So that's why I say a potential game 3 scenario maybe, but not the first 2 days, no.
Again, if they get there, I'll say it this way. If you get to that point where you need Bryce Collins to get you outs, that's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not a knock on Bryce Collins. It's not intended to be anyway. It's just to say it's clear who the guys are they trust, who the guys are that Jay and Wes have identified. And at this point in the season, those are the guys you're putting in leverage spots. You're not going to say, you never want to hand the ball to a guy in the postseason and say, let's see how this guy may do in this spot. That's not it right now. I mean, it's why, I hate to say this, but you didn't hear me mention Christian Little. Despite the fact that he is an immense talent, you have no idea when he takes the ball if he's going to be able to throw it over the plate. You cannot justify the risk of giving him the baseball to figure it out. So, no, you're not going to see him either. It would take a pretty drastic scenario, and probably a bad one, to see those guys on the bump. All right, it's after further review. So Kendall Rogers here in a few minutes. Ran across this earlier today, and this was a proposed trade for Chase Young of the Commanders. We all remember Chase Young, freakish edge rusher from Ohio State, was the number 2 pick in the draft, and had a really nice start to his career, but obviously has had injuries that have derailed him. And the proposed trade went like this. And by the way, there were 5 potential landing spots for Chase Young in a trade ahead of training camp. The Cardinals, the Bears, the Lions, the Texans, and the Saints. And here's the proposed trade. The Saints would receive Trey Young, excuse me, not Trey Young. He's not good at football. Great at basketball. Chase Young and a 2024 third-round pick. So Chase Young and a 3 in exchange for this year's Saints second-round pick, 6th-round pick, and Peyton Turner. So essentially, you'd get a 3 for the 2. You're swapping Chase Young and Peyton Turner, and then you'd throw in a 6 as well. How would you feel about that? So the idea of Chase Young, I think, is kind of tantalizing because he was so good in college and really good early in his career before the injury. But the injuries have mounted for Chase Young, and that's also left Washington in a spot where they did not pick up his 5th-year option. And, that is always telling when a team that drafted you as highly as Washington drafted Chase Young, they don't pick up your 5th-year option. As a rookie in the COVID year, he played in 15 games, had 7.5 sacks. In 2021, played in just 9 games, and last year played in just 3. So the last 2 years combined, just 12 games. I cannot justify this trade at all. I can't justify it. You've got Cam Jordan, and it's not the player, by the way, but you've got Cam Jordan, and you just drafted Foskey. If you made the trade, you'd be sending Peyton Turner out, and you just saw Marcus Davenport leave in free agency for Minnesota. So you'd have Cam Jordan, Isaiah Foskey, the rookie who you just drafted. You'd have Chase Young coming off of back-to-back years of terrible injuries, and then depth with Tano Passanio and Carl Granderson. So I don't hate the idea of the player, but Washington did not pick up his option, so he's a free agent after this season anyway. If you're about to extend Cam Jordan, you just drafted Isaiah Foskey. You drafted Peyton Turner's entering year 3 now. You hope he's healthy, but Peyton Turner really is in the same boat as Chase Young. They're both first-round picks. Both have had the last 2 years derailed due to injury. So they're kind of the same guy situationally. So one was drafted higher, but both were first-round picks. I can't justify parting ways with a second-round pick and a 6th-round pick, and swapping essentially your former first-round picks. I can't justify that for a player that hasn't played in 2 years. So I don't hate the idea of bringing Chase Young to New Orleans. I hate the idea of sending any asset, any value to Washington for him. I'd rather say, let's see how this year plays out. Maybe Chase Young gets back on the field and has a great year, and if he does, he gets paid. Or maybe he has another year where he struggles a little bit, and you're able to sign him as a free agent on a 1-year prove-it type deal. I can't justify when I've invested so much in my defensive line, a first-round pick on Peyton Turner, a high second-round pick on Isaiah Foskey. You're about to invest in Cam Jordan. I can't justify paying more money, giving more assets to Chase Young. And the other part of that as well is not only do you have to send assets to Washington to get him, you have to sign him to a contract extension because this is the last year he's under contract. No, I can't justify a trade for Chase Young. Certainly not anything of this value. If I could basically just take Chase Young off your books, if I could give you a 6th-round pick for Chase Young because you're just ready to be rid of him, okay. But sending Washington anything of value for a player that hasn't played in 2 years, who's on an expiring contract, that's almost impossible to justify at this point. Just kind of, honestly, what I would rather see is Peyton Turner go boom and Isaiah Foskey go boom. And then you're like, okay, well, now we got Cam on whatever extension you sign him, and you got 2 young guys that you feel good about. That's what I would hope to see this year. All right, it's after further review. Thursday show is brought to you by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. We're going to knock out a quick break. When we come back, our buddy Kendall Rogers will be here. We'll look forward to that. We'll preview the Super Regionals around the country. Stick around.
AFR.
Brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. 752-0001, 752-0001, 752-0001. Every single day, y'all, you're seeing the temperatures rise now. High today of 92. That's not even considering the heat index. You can jump inside to avoid the heat, the humidity, the bugs, the dander, the dust, the afternoon showers and thunderstorms and hail. But your home central AC, man, that thing sits outside alongside your house 24/7, 365, year after year after year, and never gets a break. You got to make sure, especially with our climate here, that your home central AC is clean, tuned up, running efficiently for the warm weather months this summer so you and your family don't get stuck sweating in your home. You want to extend the life of your unit? Seasonal maintenance matters. Call our friends at River City's 1 Hour Air. 752-0001. Look for the big yellow vans and trucks with the giant clock on the side. 752-0001, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime.
Get 3.99% financing at Corvell Toyota in Opelousas on select 2023 models. And we also have a large selection of pre-owned inventory. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corvell Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Hey, it's Matt Musso. Join me Monday through Friday for your daily update on LSU baseball with Musso at the Box, presented by New Orleans Flooring, wherever.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, Super Regionals this weekend. Of course, our guy Kendall Rogers, D1 Baseball, will be all over it. He's been good enough to join us every Thursday here during the season, good enough to be with us here this week as well, as the field for Omaha will be set after Monday. Kendall, thanks for the time, man. How are you?
I am doing terrific. How about yourself?
Man, I'm doing awesome. Look, the Tigers are still playing into the Super Regional round. Yes, people here are very excited, and obviously to be hosting a Super for the first time since 2019 is pretty awesome. Hey, what do you think with LSU and Kentucky? Is there an advantage having played this series already?
I don't think so. I mean, I think the biggest thing with Kentucky is I think Kentucky will come in this series, I wouldn't say confident, but they'll come in this series thinking they have a decent chance. Because if you look back at the season series, and LSU won the first 2 games, but let's not forget Kentucky kind of got after LSU a little bit in the series. Now, granted, I think LSU is in a better spot right now pitching-wise than they were back then. But, Kentucky's not going to go in there going, oh, man, we got to face Paul Skeens. We got to win at the box. Like, we haven't done that before. They've done that before. So, they'll have a little bit of cautious confidence there. But, I mean, at the end of the day, I just think LSU's a way better team than Kentucky. I thought Kentucky's regional, for me, honestly, was one of the easier regionals, which is kind of surprising considering they weren't, a top seed. But, it should be interesting, but I don't think it really helps either team.
What about Kentucky's pitching staff, Kendall? This is something that we've talked a lot about, but hopefully you can add some definition. The 3 starters that we saw 2 months ago in Baton Rouge, none of them are starting anymore, and Kentucky seems to have found something. What has happened there as they've sort of found this growth and development with their pitching staff?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing when you look at UK is kind of the evolution of a guy like Mason Moore. I mean, he is a kid that is in a really unique spot. Like, he can start, he can come out of the bullpen and give you length. What was it in the final game with Indiana? Came out of the bullpen, gave him 5 shutout innings. So he's kind of become that guy that whether it's Friday or Sunday, if somebody gets in trouble, they can kind of throw him in there. So it's kind of a unique approach in the sense that they just kind of piece everything together each weekend, and they kind of rely on a guy like him at the back end to kind of give them some length. So, yeah, Kentucky is. It's funny you mentioned that because Kentucky is one of those teams that, like, when you think of any team in college baseball and go, hey, who has one of the better rotations in the Super Regional round? Like, Kentucky would be way down the list. Mm-hmm. But then you look at their numbers, you're like, okay, like, this works. Like, what they're doing is working. So it's a little unorthodox, but it's working for them.
Mm. Do you think, like, the first time they faced each other, Kentucky was one of the few teams that actually touched Paul Skeens a little? They got him for 5 runs and 7 hits.
Yeah.
Just thoughts on this Kentucky offense against Skeens and this LSU pitching staff?
Well, I think the biggest thing, if I'm LSU and I'm Paul Skeens, like, I don't let Devin Burke get into a groove. And when you look at Devin Burke, he's a guy that, he's only hit 298, but if you watch the regional, you would have thought he's Dylan Cruz. Like, I mean, he had an incredible weekend in that regional. So, he's a guy that got big hits, can hit for power. He was their emotional leader. He was the guy leading all the chants and all the hoopla on the dugout. So I think if you're LSU, I think if you can control a guy like Devin Burke who suddenly has gotten hot in the postseason, then I think you can kind of control that offense. Obviously, when you look at Hunter Gilliam, Emilian Petre, Jackson Gray, those are all solid hitters. But again, Devin Burke is the guy right now that's doing the most damage for them, and controlling him, I think, means controlling that team as a whole.
He is Kendall Rogers with us from D1 Baseball. LSU's pitching seems to have sort of found their way a little bit. Do you think they have enough? By our count, 7, maybe 8 arms that they like. They got enough?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think the biggest thing, when you look at Kentucky and LSU, I think when you look at UK, I think the biggest thing for them is they do need to get length out of their starting pitching. I think if you're, relying on Mason Moore twice in a weekend and he's having to go 4 innings twice in a weekend or 3 innings twice in a weekend, that can be problematic. And so I think they need to get length out of their starters. That's the only way you're going to beat a team like LSU, certainly on the road.
Kendall, let's talk about some of the other super regional matchups that we're going to see this weekend. You told me you're heading to Fort Worth. That's, by the way, what a bizarre situation that Indiana State doesn't get to host, man. Like, give us some context. That I can't remember a time where something like this happened before.
The only time it's happened before is Missouri State a few years ago did not submit a bid because a minor league team was at home. And so they share their minor league facility with the Springfield Cardinals. And so they weren't able to host.
Yeah.
That's the only other time I've seen this in the Super Regional round. It is definitely weird, but, I'll give Indiana State credit. There are things larger than baseball in this world. They host the largest Special Olympics event in the state of Indiana this weekend in Terre Haute. And they said, you know what? No matter what, like we're not making these kids, sleeping. We're not making Special Olympians sleep in dorms and have to stay an hour away because there's nowhere to stay. So you know what they did? They said, you know what? We'll go on the road. We're not going to bid to host a Super Regional. And what's been really cool about this, Matt, and this is kind of the power of the human spirit a little bit, is TCU fans have actually raised like $50,000 for the Special Olympics of Indiana.
Very cool.
Because of all this. So they turned what is a cruddy situation for those players into kind of a cool story of giving back to that organization. So it's definitely weird, but this is a cool Super Regional. I'm actually really looking forward to it. I hate to not beat the box, but I just think when you look at the historical nature of the Indiana State potentially getting to Omaha, I thought they looked the part last weekend. They looked like a team with two really good starters. They got an elite back-end guy in Jared Spencer. They got a solid offensive lineup. Then you got TCU, who looked like the 1917 Yankees last weekend, scoring 34 runs in 2 games against Arkansas. That's a really interesting Super Regional.
Most surprising team not playing this weekend?
I would say probably Vanderbilt or Arkansas, given their draw. I mean, for Vanderbilt to get knocked out by Xavier, I mean, I will say this, Billy O'Connor's done a great job at Xavier, but I mean, if you're Vandy, you got to beat Xavier in a regional. That's not good. I would say Arkansas too, and just the way that Arkansas played. I thought was really interesting about Arkansas guys is watching them even in the first game, like when TCU got up on them. Man, it was like they lost every ounce of confidence they had all year long. And it was almost just like they realized that, hey, we kind of played over our heads a little bit all year long, and hey, this is now reality. And so I just think their utter deflation in like the third or fourth inning of that first TCU game was what stood out to me the most. They looked like they were toast.
So I would totally agree on Arkansas. That one stunned me for them to lose it at Baum-Walker the way they did. What team is playing this weekend that you're surprised most to see there?
I would say ORU. And what's funny about ORU is I think they're really good. They're very balanced offensively. They got one of the better relievers in the country at the back of the bullpen. But for them to run that gauntlet and beat DBU, beat Washington, beat Oklahoma State, and get to a Super Regional, there's nobody out there that had a tougher road than those guys. And not only they mastered it, but they basically just dominated everybody they played. And so I think ORU getting the Super and just doing it the way they did was ultra impressive to me. But keep an eye on those guys this weekend. They are deep. They are balanced. They were honestly kind of giving me shades of that 16 Coastal Carolina team, or even, I hate to say it on your show, but even Stony Brook to some extent, to where this is not just a mid-major with average talent. This is a mid-major with a lot of experience and a lot of talent.
Did you forget who Coastal beat in the Supers? They were both
exactly.
Coastal and Stony Brook were both here, man. That was like a double crotch shot, man. What are you doing to us here? Boom.
Todd Peterson would be disappointed in me.
Chad Peterson.
Oh yeah.
There it is. Love it. Most interesting, most competitive Super Regional that you're looking forward to.
I'll tell you what, man. I am really looking forward to South Carolina versus Florida.
I mean, that is the answer, isn't it, Kendall? I mean, that's the one that everyone should say.
I say this: be careful what you wish for. Earlier this year, South Carolina swept them in Columbia, and South Carolina players talk trash. I mean, they were up in their grill, and that's one of those things that if you're Florida, all right, well, you were talking all that mess in the middle of the regular season. Let's see what you got this weekend. So I think that one's going to be crazy chippy. There is no love lost in that deal. Will Sanders came out earlier this year and said that there's no team he loves beating more than Florida. Well, we'll see what happens this weekend.
It is the Gators and the Gamecocks. Super Regional action will get underway Friday. Hey, last thing before you go, I know you saw the news about Wes Johnson, of course. He'll be the head coach at Georgia. So two-part. Number one, just a thought on Wes Johnson, what he might do with Georgia, and then what direction Jay may go to replace Wes.
Yeah, first, one of the names I've heard that Wes may take with him to Georgia is rather interesting. It's a sitting associate head coach or recruiting guy in the SEC. It's not Nolan Kane. So before anybody throws that one out there, but it's a guy in the SEC East. But that's an interesting name. I think the biggest thing when you look at the LSU pitching job is I think Jay has a lot of options. He can go back to pro ball. I don't think that's the right move, Matt, because I think if you go out and get somebody from pro ball, I think you're going to be in a situation where after 1 or 2 good years, they're going to go get a head coaching job. Like if they come from pro ball to LSU, they're doing it to become a head coach. So I think the biggest thing when I look at LSU is go after somebody from the college ranks that you think may actually stay there for a few years. With that said, guys that would meet that criteria would be, Nate Yesky at A&M, who, yeah, I know A&M's numbers this year on the mound weren't great, but he did a great job last year. He's been one of the top 2 or 3 pitching coaches in college baseball for the last 15 years. Robert Woodard at Charlotte, for head coach, who was certainly a fantastic pitcher in his own right during his playing career at UNC. He was a finalist last year for that job as well. My understanding is that he would have interest in that job again. That is where I'm starting if I'm Jay Johnson. I don't think I go the pro route because I think at this point, if I'm LSU, I'm wanting some stability. It's nice and all that these guys are moving on to big jobs. But if I'm Jay Johnson, I'm like, man, I don't want to replace my pitching coach every 2 years. And I think with those 2 guys, I don't think you're replacing your pitching coach in the next 2 years.
Okay. He is Kendall Rogers, D1Baseball.com on Twitter, at Kendall Rogers. Get him there. Kendall, enjoy the Super Regional action, man. We appreciate you as always.
Maybe we'll see you next week.
Look forward to it, man. Take care. All right, that is Kendall Rogers from D1 Baseball. They just do it the best. I mean, you want college baseball action following the Super Regionals, get over to D1Baseball.com. Interestingly enough, of course, you heard Kendall there talk about the good that TCU fans are doing and donating to the Special Olympics there in Indiana with that whole situation. I do want to take one final opportunity to remind you. A few weeks ago, maybe even before I went on vacation, I told you about this, but of course, Carly McCord was our former producer here on AFR, and we tragically lost Carly in the plane accident back in 2019, December of 2019. And her sister, Kaylee, owns a children's clothing brand called Little Luann. And when Carly died, I'll never forget it. It was that was of course a Saturday. The next day when Kaylee called me to ask if I would read at the funeral, and then also mentioned that Carly always wanted to do something for Drew, our son, and Kaylee wanted to carry that on. Well, what that's become now is what they call the Carly's Little Rainbow Collection. And at littleluann.com, if you go to Little Luann, there's a Rainbows tab at the top. And and of course, the reference here is that the Instagram story that Carly posted, the last thing she posted before she died, was the Andy Grammer lyrics, "Only rainbows after rain, the sun will always come again." So Carly's family and those that knew her and loved her have really latched onto that and carried that on. So hence the Carly's Little Rainbows collection. So every spring they release the Rainbows collection, and they've generally donated the proceeds, 100% of the proceeds, to a family of a special needs child. And Erica and I have worked with Kaylee and Little Luann to choose that family. Well, this year they're donating 100% of the proceeds to St. Lillian Academy. It's a special needs school in Baton Rouge. It's where our son Drew attends, and they do amazing work. So would highly recommend, if you can, go to littleluann.com, L-O-U-A-N-N-E, littleluann.com. Hit the Rainbows tab at the top, and you'll see the Rainbow Collection. Maybe it's for you, something for your child, maybe something for a friend, maybe someone who's having a baby, or you have look, there's everything from clothing and caps and shirts to keychains and backpacks and caps and hats and all different types of stuff. You're sure to find something that you'll love, or a niece, a nephew, a son, a daughter, a granddaughter, a grandson would love. So check it out at littleluann.com, littleluann.com. I believe tomorrow is the last day that the Rainbow Collection is live for this spring. Swimsuits, there's just so much. Earrings, there's so much stuff there. You'll find something, and literally 100% of the proceeds, all of them, are going to St. Lillian Academy. So if you can, please be generous. littleluann.com, littleluann.com. All right, it's after further review. Thanks to Kendall for being with us here for a couple of minutes. Let me knock out a quick break. We'll do some Otter Locks here in about 15 minutes from right now. It is, of course, one of the most historic days in the history of LSU athletics, the anniversary of one of the most historic days in the history of LSU athletics. Talk about that next. It's AFR.
AFR.
Buying or selling commercial or residential, think real estate, think Darren James. You can always get to agent225.com, agent225.com. I know a lot of people like to go to some of the national websites. Many people obviously are familiar with Zillow, but the problem with some of the national websites are when they give you an estimate of your home or a home near you, that doesn't take into consideration the specifications of your home. What if you change the windows? Or what if you updated flooring? Or what if you built a fence or an outdoor kitchen? Well, that's not considered in that estimate. So you need a local website that's updated multiple times daily. It's agent225.com, the most user-friendly website in real estate. And of course, if you are buying or selling, you need Darren James. Listen, 73% of home sellers try to do it by owner and ultimately hire a realtor. 73%. Save yourself the time, the hassle, the money. Call Darren James and get your home sold. 335-7666.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
Bayou Ford has $15,000 off plus 0.9% APR for 60 months on all new 22 Ford F-150 SCA trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory, all with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance jobs, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. And I think we're rocking and rolling.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you.
Pop, pop.
What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to...
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Well, Happy walk-off day. June 8th, 1996, one of, if not the most dramatic day in the history of LSU athletics. It was on that day, this day, back in 1996, of course, that Warren Morris homered in the bottom of the ninth with 2 outs off of Robbie Morrison. One thing, when I was a kid, I remember, and I don't know if every TV station did this, but I can remember when I was a young kid in New Orleans, there was a TV station that every year on Halloween would play Billy Cannon's Run. And I can't remember which it was. This is, I'm almost 41 now. So, I'm talking more than 30 years ago, 30, 35 years. I was like a young child. And maybe this is something that I'll just start doing here every year on this show on June 8th, because every year I know there are new LSU fans, young LSU fans, who have never heard this. Everyone has seen Warren Morris's home run. I think everyone has seen the short clip or heard the short clip of Jim Hawthorne's call, and it was Sean McDonough on the TV call for CBS, and we've actually had Sean on the show over the years, and he's talked about that. Sean McDonough, incidentally, has had some really good fortune to call some dramatic moments. Anyway, I don't want to get run astray here, but several years back, I believe it was Todd Politz over at LSU who sent me this audio, and it's 2 minutes long, and it's the entire thing that played out with Warren's home runs, starting with Tim Lanier's strikeout. And Tim Lanier, at that point, was probably the most outstanding player of the College World Series in 1996. He was LSU senior catcher, Calici, shout out, and he was magnificent. And Tim struck out on a devastating breaking ball from Tommy Morrison, and it was Robbie Morrison. I said, I was like, wait, that's not right. That's the boxer. Anyway, and Lanier struck out, and Warren Morris homered on the first pitch. And most people have heard the call picked up with Morris's homer. This is like the entire thing and about a minute that follows. And I'll still say to this day, one of the most incredible things that Bill Franquez, who's the color analyst on the call, doesn't speak during the entire thing. It's a great lesson to all the shut-up color guys out there to don't ever step on a big moment. Anyway, so without further ado, let's go back to June 8th, 1996.
Now Morrison has the sign. Here's the payoff pitch to Lanier. Struck him out, and there's 2 gone. Lanier fanned on a fastball, and it is up to Warren Morris to keep LSU's chances alive. Now the Tigers got a leadoff double by Wilson, but Bowles and Lanier have not been able to get the run in. And it's up to Morris, who has doubled, singled, got on the fielder's choice, scored 3 runs, and struck out. Now it'll take a base hit, an error, a wild pitch, or something. The stretch by Morrison, the pitch. Swung on and hit to right field. That's way back there. Way back there. Home run! Tigers win! Tigers win! Warren Morris! It's a 2-run home run! And the Tigers win the national champ! I don't believe it! His first home run of the year! Holy cow! Oh, my!
Oh, my goodness.
Oh,
this
pardon
is
me.
Unbelievable.
I do not believe it.
Oh, what a story.
Good
What
Lord.
a story. You couldn't have written in Hollywood. This is unbelievable.
That is the first home run for Warren Morris. A 2-out, 2-run home run in the bottom of the 9th inning. And the Tigers have won the national championship. And this crowd of 23,000 are absolutely stunned, including us here in the booth.
Oh, my gosh. This has to be one of the greatest games in College World Series history.
Bill Franquez there alongside Jim Hawthorne. I should say Jim Hawthorne there with Bill Franquez. And it's one of the great calls ever. What a moment. Not much more to say. But Warren Morris, this day, 1996. I mean, we're talking 27 years. Oh, my God. I was laying on my bed with a heating pad on my back. I've had back problems since I was a teenager. But what a day it was. What a moment. What a call. And it is amazing when you listen to Bill from the moment. And Jim does a great job on the call, but Bill letting it breathe. And I need to get Bill. I don't think I've ever had Bill on the show to talk about that specifically, and I want to do it. But think about from Lanier's strikeout to Morris's homer through the celebration. Completely let the moment breathe, which is one of the most incredible things. Of course, Warren has been on this show and every show many times, and he's asked all the time about that moment, and he always has the same answer. I'd rather be known for something like that and be asked about that all the time, a great memory, than striking out or not, coming through in that moment. So a great moment by Warren Morris on this day 27 years ago. All right, it's after further review. NBA Finals Game 3, of course, was last night. The Denver Nuggets take a 2-1 series lead with their win over the Miami Heat, but we are far from done, and the DraftKings Sportsbook is still extending their great offer. If you are a new customer, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. As a matter of fact, I was at Oliver Twist yesterday for Scone and Tea. Gentleman came up to me and said, "Hey, man, you got me. I downloaded the app, and I got my bonus bets." So this is how it works. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code Baton Rouge. Again, use the promo code Baton Rouge. One word, promo code Baton Rouge. Make a $5 bet on the NBA Finals, and they'll give you $200 in bonus bets instantly at the DraftKings Sportsbook. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Do it today. And listen, there's so much more, of course. You want to bet on the NHL Finals. You can. The Stanley Cup Finals, you can. Major League Baseball, the college baseball Super Regionals this weekend. Bet on anything. There's future bets for college football and the NFL. Get on the app. Have some fun. Same game parlays. It's all there for you at the DraftKings Sportsbook. But remember, new customers, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code Baton Rouge. Just a $5 bet on the NBA Finals. And they'll give you $200 in bonus bets instantly, only at the DraftKings Sportsbook. 21 and older, physically present in Louisiana, select parishes only. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance, opt-in, and 10-plus legs required for 100% boost. Eligibility, wagering, and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/basketball terms. Licensing partner, Golden Nugget Lake Charles Gambling Problem. Call 1-800-GAMBLER, 1-800-426-2537. All right, y'all, it is after further review. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. We got one segment to go. I just got a text from Jimmy. He's not available to call in for Otterlocks, but he did send me his pick. So we'll get to Otterlocks when we wrap up next here on a Thursday edition of AFR.
AFR.
If you are hanging out by the pool, the outdoor patio, just your outdoor space here this summer, and you're getting bitten and carried away by mosquitoes, don't. Listen, you don't even have to call some big mosquito abatement company and spend a bunch of money. Just go to Clegg's Nursery. Any of the 4 locations. You know where they are. Siega near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. Clegg's has a product called the Aeon Mosquito Barrier. It's the same thing I've told you about for years. Just got a new name, but it's the same product. Just go into Clegg and say, "Hey, where's the mosquito thing Moscona talks about?" It comes in a rectangular box. It's 2 tubes the size of a track baton. So easy. You take the top off. There's granules. Fill it up to the fill line. Shake it up. Hang it on your property line. Boom. You are done with mosquitoes 90 days at a time. And Clegg's Nursery has them. Y'all, it's $24.99. $24.99. Go pick up a mosquito barrier today at Clegg's Nursery. Buy local. Shop local. Tell them Matt sent you into Clegg's Nursery.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $20,000 off new 22 Ram 1500 SCA trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory, all with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The world's leaders in obesity
research, obesity medicine, and obesity science are right here.
We're doing something that no one's ever done or trying to answer a question that no one's ever asked before.
Pennington is a real jewel when it comes to research.
We are finding the solutions to the world's worst chronic disease, which is obesity. Louisiana needs Pennington Biomedical.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, down the stretch, we come final segment here on a Thursday edition of AFR. We always appreciate our friends at the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Otter, not available today. However, he did send me his picks. So, Otter sent us 2 picks yesterday. Or gave us 2 picks yesterday.
He did.
He liked the Heat plus 3.5. And he liked the Texas Rangers on the money line. Yeah, they lost 1-0 to the Cardinals.
Ouch. Pain. It's all right. Today's going to be better. What we got?
In what way could you possibly believe that to be a reality?
Because there's nowhere to go but up, Matt.
I mean, you could literally just stand pat with a losing record or a winless record.
Oh.
Okay. If you are, in fact, a glutton for punishment, Otter did give us 3 picks today. I mean, do I even want to give them out?
Yeah.
Please? You sure?
That's what we have to do in this segment, Matt.
All right, well, if you want to keep losing all your money.
Or just fade the Otter.
Fade the Otter, you could do that as well. All right, 3 plays with Framber Valdez on the bump. The Otter, in fact, likes the Houston Astros minus 115 at DraftKings against the Toronto Blue Jays. Paulie, you'll like this one. The Braves are minus 180 at home against the Mets. He does, in fact, like your Bravos. And Muse, you'll hate this one. The Otter going very chalky today. He likes the Cleveland Guardians at home against the Bo Sox.
Yeah, probably a smart move.
Yeah, I'm not going to be in any way optimistic about this. I'm just bitterly disappointed because, look, the Otter and his band of merry handicappers were absolutely in fuego during football
They were
season.
awesome.
They crushed.
Weren't they like 40 games above 500
It
or
was
something like that?
It was ridiculous. And last year in baseball, he was incredible until he left for Del Mar, and he never got back on track. Let's hope this starts eventually. All right, Houston, the Braves, and the Guardians. Those are Otters locks tonight. We're brought to you by Mold Zero USA, mold-0usa.com, mold-0usa.com. Tell you every day, kill mold, remove odor. That's what they do over at Mold Zero. They'll spray their patented, non-toxic, dry fog treatment. Don't be worried about it. Don't think, what are they spraying in my home? Listen, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers has done a full study on it that's available at the website. It is completely safe for you, your family, your pets, your plants, everything. It's quick. It's easy. It's certainly more affordable than other remediation options. It's Mold Zero. Learn more. Mold-0usa.com. Mold-0usa.com or Mold Zero. All right, that's going to do it for us. Muse Pauly, I appreciate y'all. Tomorrow, we are live at Rouse's, Burbank and Lee. We'll look forward to seeing you then. Have a great night.
AFR.
All right, as we get on down the road, one quick reminder about Shawbills Tire and Auto Service. ShawbillsTire.com. Over at Shawbills, they'll take care of everything you need, most notably at Shawbills. They will sell you name brand tires at wholesale prices. I cannot recommend highly enough if you are hitting the road this summer for that family vacation. Memorial Day's passed. We're into June. Maybe you're driving to Omaha when the Tigers make it. Maybe you're headed to the beach for the 4th of July. Whatever family vacation you're taking this summer, if you're going to be driving that vehicle and you need tires, go to Shawbills first. You can always hit the promotions tab at the website. Go to ShawbillsTire.com, ShawbillsTire.com. Hit the promotions tab, and you'll see all of the promotions that they have right now. This is on the best-known tires in the world. Michelin, Firestone, Bridgestone, BF Goodrich. All of the promotions are there right now. You can check them out and how they'll save you money on tires at Shawbills. ShawbillsTire.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 50